There's no honor among thieves in the first place. He put hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family. Hard times are when the textile workers around this country are out of work and got 4 or 5 kids and can't pay their wages, can't buy their food. Hard times.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Woo! I tore them all down, and I came here for one reason: to attack and keep coming.
I did it for the Rock.
You will rest in peace.
I asked you 1,000,000 times to join the NWO, where you would be born alive.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty.
Bang, bang. And what you gonna do when Hulkamania run wild on you?
And that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said so.
Yeah! Fire! I won't ride in nothing but limousines, and I won't make love to nothing but the best looking women in the world.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
You will know that your ass is mine.
Bang, bang.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
You got a championship belt? I don't.
That's right, I'm a Paul Heyman guy.
When Ric Flair's in town, showtime! Woo! Sweet!
My belly's just a little big. My hand is just a little big. But, brother, I am bad, and they know I'm bad.
Beat me if you can survive, if I let you.
Orderly!
Woo! It is Rolex time!
Quote the Raven.
You just made the list!
Who's you beat, brother?
Did you dig that? Sucker! I am the game!
The whole show.
If I could be serious for a minute.
You son of a bitch! Brock Lesnar! Damn!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
Oh, you didn't know? I mean, you're the Donald Trump of wrestling. You make Steven Spielberg look like a guy running 8mm films in a garage someplace.
Will you stop?
You don't want to recognize my belt, huh? You don't recognize my belt. I think you're a liar. I think you're a flat out, straight up, lying, crying bitch.
Knock on our door.
Come and knock on our door.
We've been waiting for you.
We've been waiting for you.
Where the kisses are
Hers and his. Please comfort it too.
Come and dance on our floor.
Come and dance on our floor.
Take a step that is new.
Take a step that is new.
Leave a lovable space.
Wow, that shit was that bad back then, huh? Anyway, what is going on, you silly bitches? Gobble, gobble, motherfuckers. Happy Thanksgiving Eve to everybody in the chat room. Of course, the two sitting across from me. One of those would be Anthony. What is going on, sir? Okay, Anthony's on mute. Smark, let's start with you. What is going on, Smark?
Fellas, what is up? It is the Steve Urkel of Peen Jerkel himself. How's everybody doing tonight? Oh, yeah.
There we go. And now we've got Anthony over there. What is up, Anthony?
Fox, Smart, chat room. Happy Thanksgiving Eve, bros. This is, without exaggeration, an action-packed, jam-packed ass show tonight.
Yes.
Good God.
Yes, I was too goddamn lazy to do any after shows over the weekend. So, yeah, we've got TakeOver. We've got Survivor Series. We've got Raw. And we have AEW. If we get into some news, maybe we will, maybe we won't. Stay tuned. Be surprised. That's what we're here for. Anyway, what is going on, everybody? Hope everybody had a great fucking week. And let's go ahead and knock the plugs out of the way. What do you say, guys?
Yeah.
All right, let's find something to. Let's find something to play behind the plugs here. Let's find something to play. Well, a little bad to the bone. A little bad to the bone. That sounds good, right? Yeah. You guys won't hear it, but trust me, it'll be in there. Don't worry about it. Anyway, here we go. Let's start out with the Wrestling Overdose. That is Wrestling OD. That is Shaheen. And if you want to not only hear Shaheen, but if you want to look at his art, check out nuclearheatshop.com. That is Nuclear Heat Graphics. You can also check out the Wrestling's High Marks over there, Cheeseman Mojo, and Gee Whiz. Good guys over there. Definitely check them out. You can check them out here on Mixed on the Metal Mitt Network. Sundays at, I forget what time. I was really stoned and drunk that night. Anyway, special shout out Bobby Anthem, Bobby Blades in Human Experience. And again, it's a BOGO. You get that. And you get Bobby Anthem in search of his lost soul. Oh, excuse me. And he is still searching for his lost soul. So keep checking that out. Check out the Philly Sports Passion. And if you check out that feed, another BOGO, you're going to get Unscripted Wrestling. That is with Eric, Doug, and Daniel. And you can find all these shows I just talked about on all the regular podcast platforms, Apple, Google, blah, blah, blah. And a shout out to Stephen Milan, always sharing the show. Appreciate that, buddy. You can get him on Letterboxd, boxd.com/Stephen Milan. This man's coming up on like almost 6,100 films. Oh my God. Reviewed. Incredible. Anthony, I think this is a Hollywood Hangout weekend, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. We'll figure out what we're doing in the next couple nights, everybody. Stay tuned. Check for that, too. And don't forget to check out Dirt Sheet Dudes right here on mixer.com/Dirt Sheet Dudes. This Friday, we will be back. And that's why if we get to news, we do. If we don't, we'll get to it Friday. And you can follow us on Spreaker, follow us on Twitter, and you can leave reviews on Apple and Google and wherever else you want to. Anyway, there we go. Bloods are done. Woo!
Yeah. Let's pop one open and get this shit started because
okay, here we go.
Man, feel like a lot of fucking wrestling this week, huh?
Always.
Sorry, you said pop one open, so I did. Sometimes I do what I'm told, you know.
Hey.
Sometimes it's
hey,
not the right.
Good man there.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it ain't the right time to do it. Well, what you gonna do, right? Anyway. We're going to go ahead, like I said, we're going to kind of go in chronological order here. We're going to rewind. We're going to go back to Saturday. And you know what? To just dig some news in it, this could be one of the few last takeovers on a Saturday that they're going to do. I guess Meltzer's reporting that they're going to start doing them on Sundays like they used to. Not like they used to for the NXT, but for all the other regular pay-per-views, they're going to make TakeOver its own pay-per-view, which I don't really see a problem with that.
I do. Well, depending on how they schedule it.
Well, I mean,
I don't want them to start doing them before actual WWE pay-per-views, and then it starts at like 11 in the morning.
No. It's not going to be NXT Heat. It's
very good.
NXT Night Heat? No. That's not what they're doing. I guess they're just going to give them their own week and then do another pay-per-view. We'll see how this all works. But I guess that'll allow them to travel a little more, though. So good for that. You know, we'll see how all that works out. I guess they're going to test it with the UK one and a couple of other ones and go from there. So anyway, let's start. Anthony, I did not watch the pre-show. Smart, did you watch the pre-show to Takeover?
I did. I watched the match on the pre-show at least.
Oh, well,
Angel Garza versus Isaiah Swerve
Scott.
Yes.
That's right.
All right. Well, you two.
I, for some reason, will never remember his full name. I don't know why.
Just call him Swerve. That's fine. But go ahead, guys, real quick. Talk about that pre-show match.
It was a solid match. I actually watched the whole pre-show. The match itself was solid from what I can remember of it because I've literally watched a ton of wrestling between Saturday and today, especially cramming in at the last minute. So from what I remember, it was a solid match. Nothing overly spectacular, but it was solid. Smart. You got anything on it?
I mean, anytime you get a match with Swerve in it, it's got potential to be pretty good. Garza's not too bad himself, so yeah, it was pretty solid. I'm kind of right there with you. I've been so oversaturated with wrestling the last couple of days that nothing necessarily too big sticks out. I do remember that Garza picked up the win, so keeping his momentum going. He seems to be on a streak lately.
Now, I guess before we get away from the pre-show, I did notice Sam Roberts. I do remember this. Sam was kind of extra douchey on this particular broadcast.
No.
Normally I can kind of like tune out but he came across as a real asshat on this one. And help me out, Smart. What's the other guy? Is it Pat McAfee?
McAfee. Yes.
Now, did you catch the very end of the pre-show where he just was in extra hype mood?
I caught him wearing a blazer and shorts. That was an interesting combo.
That's kind of his thing, is he does that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think I did catch that. He was pretty excited. That's kind of his whole brand, though. He brings a lot of that hype. It's kind of who he is 24/7. There's not too much of a stick behind that.
Oh, he doesn't get hype. He stays. Oh, shut the fuck up. Anyway, all right, enough of that shit. Let's get into this war game shit. I almost want to talk about the women's match last because Jesus Christ, but they started with the women's war games match.
Match of the year contender right there, boy. I don't care what nobody say.
My God, these girls were fucking brutal. Team Ripley was Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox, and Dakota Kai. Well, that changed at the end, but we'll get into that. And they defeated Team Baszler, which surprised me a little bit, which was Shayna, the Kaylee Ray, the NXT UK Women's Champion, Bianca Belair, and Io Shirai. So these motherfucking girls really went out there and beat the shit out of each other. Dakota Kai had one of the best heel turns I've seen in a while, beating the shit out of Tegan Nox. And the rest of the match, guys, was a 4-on-2 fucking just beating of all 6 girls in that match. And I my God, dude, there was some great shit in here. Go ahead, Anthony.
And Box, not even just the match itself. This is like, you got to dissect the fuck out of this, man. From the actual body of the match was fantastic, but the storyline, the character development, just the little nuances, man. Like, seriously, there was a lot to like about this match. Not just from a work rate standpoint, but from a psychology standpoint. A lot of thought and care was put into this match. It was like a car crash spot fest type of match, but everything made sense. It seemed like everything was done for a reason.
Dude, I even gained a little respect for Bianca Belair in this match. I really wish that she would stop slapping people with her hair. It's just, I get it, it's her gimmick, but to me, it's just blah and stupid. But every fucking girl in this match worked their ass off, dude.
Yeah, and even like with the Dakota Kai, because that was the big story coming out of the match, the viciousness. Now, we should kind of set up because on the pre-show, the reason Dakota Kai was in this match was because storyline-wise, they had took out Mia Yim. She had got attacked backstage. And they kind of explained that on the pre-show, and I wanted to bring that up specifically because I think it was Brian Alvarez that got... He got his panties in a little bunch over there, like, because he turned on the show and just he said fuck the pre-show. He turned on the show. He's wondering where the fuck is Mia Yim at, and he went on this mini Twitter tirade. Like, I shouldn't have to watch the fucking pre-show to find out that somebody's not going to be in the match.
You didn't. They fucking announced it 2 times before the fucking match started.
Jesus Christ, I don't know.
I mean, the announcer said anyway. God, Brian Alvarez, that fucking.
No, but anyway, fuck him. I just wanted a reason to shit on him.
Smart. Real quick, Smart. What did you think of this lady's women's War Games match?
I thought it was pretty interesting. I'd give Anthony a little bit of an opportunity to Barry Horowitz himself there, pat himself on the back. He was talking about Friday, the potential for the heel turn for Dakota Kai, and he ended up coming through. Of course, we just mentioned that, but so that ended up happening. It was a really solid match. I feel like they actually felt the importance of it being the first female War Games match, so they actually set out to make it a memorable match and not just gimmicky, where it just felt like, they were just kind of like, like we've been talking about before, how kind of the forced, overly inauthentic whole women's revolution thing. Like, it seemed like they actually went out there and busted their ass. They put on a really good show. I was really impressed. Like I don't know if I would go as far as calling it match of the year, but I think it was probably the best match of the night for sure. Yeah.
Well, I'll put it to you like this, because I had this in my notes. This felt like the most organic form of a women's evolution in WWE that you could possibly hope for. Because everything felt, maybe it's because of the storylines going into the match. Maybe it's because you had established characters with established beefs. It felt like about as organic as a women's feud in WWE as you're going to get in 2019. I feel like, put it to you like this. If you had this match in the main event of WrestleMania this year, I feel like people would have looked at the women in the main event picture in a whole different light. Because 2 times this year, the women have main evented they main evented 2 of the Classic 5 pay-per-views. And they've kind of stunk out the joint. Stuck out the joint. Like matches that were pretty well hyped. This match had some hype behind it, but I feel like it was more organic. And I feel like this is the type of match, if you want to put the women on a pedestal, this is where you can start from. And you can only go up from this match.
Dude,
my opinion.
It's like I said Friday, man. This is the women's revolution. And when it builds organically, do you see how good it can come out? Don't shove it down our throats. Don't do that. Just let it build. Yes, they pushed this match as the first, but we didn't hear it from Michael Cole every 30 seconds. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
So NXT is actually letting something breathe, letting it build, letting it catch fire on its own instead of fucking trying to throw fuel on it and it's water. So there you go. But yeah, great match there. Are we moving on? Is that what we're doing? We're moving on.
Well, Box, you're pretty high on Rhea Ripley. What did you think? What do you think of her performance in the match? Because clearly they have plans for this woman. Finish, I can't even put that finish over enough. She handcuffed herself to Shayna Baszler and did her move through the chairs. That was a badass finish. Now, do you think that it took away from the credibility of the heels that they essentially fucked up a 4-on-2 advantage?
No. And I expected Team Baszler to lose, but I didn't expect her to be the one being pinned, by the way. If you remember, I did say I expected Ripley to win, but I don't think it took away from anything at all. Honestly. I don't know. Smart, you?
No, I don't think it took anything away. As far as her performance goes, like we were talking about Friday about Adam Cole being the MVP of this whole kind of month feud pay-per-view build. And that's probably accurate, but not far behind him, Rhea Ripley. There was like definitely kind of a star power weekend for her. Like she had a lot of big performances. She had a big performance on Raw. She was NXT Survivor Series. She was all over, and she had a hell of a week in general.
Yep.
Australian Charlotte coming soon. But I gotta say this because this is going to actually tie in the Survivor Series, and then we can get to the next match. Take note of the brutality in this match that we saw, right? And then once we get to Survivor Series, got a little bit of a bitch. Because this is a lot of the problem with these every time when you throw together like these brand feuds that only exist between late October all the way through November, then back to fucking normal. You kind of like break up the continuity of what's going on one show when you're trying to like intermix everything.
Yeah.
Because no fucking way after the war these women had the night before should they be buddy-buddy the next night. Fuck brand loyalty. At least tease some tension, some dissension. You got these bitches standing next to each other smiling. Like, you get them, girl. Get the fuck out of here. Like, what the fuck? I mean, come on, man.
Now, you got to be loyal to your soil. We've heard that phrase about 800 times throughout the weekend.
There you go. All right. Next match is... Shit, this isn't in fucking order to these results I've got pulled up here. What was the next match? Was it the Matt Riddle Balor match?
No, that was later.
No, then it was the triple threat. No, then it was the Pete Dunne Killian Dane.
No, it was a triple threat with Dunn, Damian Priest, and Killian Dane.
Killian Dane. Okay, that was the next matchup right there. I mean, there were only 4 matches on the main card, but they're not in order. Fucking Fox Sports won't put the fucking shit in order, assholes.
Now I gotta say, right off the top, the one thing that caught me off, and I didn't even notice it till Morrow pointed it out on commentary, that apparently Damian Priest was doing like a tribute to the Outsiders with his ring gear. And then I rewound it, and I'm like, oh, shit, he is.
He's kind of got a little Razor look to him anyway.
And a Diesel look with the pleather pants and the fringes on the side. I'm like, okay, maybe he was an Outsiders fan back in the day.
Maybe. And I mean, he's a big, tall guy. He's going to definitely be another guy, in my opinion, has a future. But, this match was a really fucking good match. I knew they were going to give it to Pete Dunne, of course. And the winner to this went on to face Adam Cole at Survivor Series, which we will get into later. And there you go. So Pete Dunne did win this match. There was a lot of finger pulling and selling for finger pulling. And Killian Dane is a fucking beast. And Damian Priest will be something. He'll be big, in my opinion. You guys, Smark, your turn.
Sure. Okay. Well, this is the beginning of going 0 for 2 for the night because I ended up picking Dane to win the match. I don't know why. I just had a feeling about it. Didn't end up coming to fruition, but match itself I really enjoyed. I thought it was a good run. Everybody had kind of their own dynamic. I definitely agree with you. It seems like they have big plans for Priest. What I thought was interesting to tie into the whole Outsiders thing is one of his, what appears to be signature moves, because he does it pretty much every match he's in that I've seen recently at least. He does the Razor's Edge, and they actually do in fact call it the Razor's Edge. They didn't try to give it a different name. They stuck with that. I actually like that.
Yep. Oh, Sean Sangerversi is mad at me. He's saying Damian Priest is the next Baron Corbin. He's horrible. He's going to be getting that big man push, and he sucks. I don't know, man. I think he's much better than Baron Corbin. He's much more athletic than Baron Corbin.
I personally didn't really like him that much in Ring of Honor, but I'm trying to kind of give him a fair shake in different circumstances, see if maybe he's a little bit better under a different umbrella. I do agree with you, though, that they do plan on giving him a big push. I think he has more of a Baron Corbin look than a Baron Corbin style. That makes sense.
Who was he in Ring of Honor?
Punishment Martinez.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, for whatever reason, like we've said it before, like certain guys just fit certain companies. You know, like I said, like you look at somebody like Xavier Woods. If you had told me a decade ago that fucking Consequences Creed would be a top guy in WWE, I would have fucking laughed you out the building. I mean, but things happen.
Aaron 123 West wants Killian Dane to take the Vader gimmick. Oh, dude, just what we need. What, a big Irish Vader?
So, I mean, let me ask you both, since we were on Killian Dane real quick.
That's a hairy motherfucker, by the way. Anyway, go ahead.
Do you think he will be the breakout from Sanity? A group, by the way, that was broken up far too soon. There was a lot of potential with him and Eric Young, Nikki Cross as a little faction. They didn't get nearly the mileage out of that gimmick that they should have, my opinion.
Yeah, wasn't that Alex Wolf guy in there, too?
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of glad he's in Imperium. I really like that group altogether. So it turned out well for him. I'll say that. But Killian, I don't know. Maybe he will. I mean, I guess out of that whole group, yeah, probably. I mean, Nikki Cross isn't doing so bad for herself right now, but I mean, you know, there's going to be a ceiling there. So yeah, possibly it could be Killian Dane now that we're breaking it down.
Yeah, and Eric Young. I mean, Eric Young is Eric Young. He's selling invisible spots from Titus O'Neil.
Glad I'm not watching that. Anyway, any more on this triple threat?
Nah, the right guy won. So next match.
Yeah.
Next match was the Riddle versus Finn Balor. This was a hell of a fucking match, man.
Yeah, they were laying that shit in, boy. I loved it.
Oh, Oh, yeah, they were. Look, I got it. There wasn't a bad match on this card. Not one bad fucking match. But fucking,
It never is.
No, there usually isn't. But this right here, Matt Riddle, Finn Balor. I mean, Matt Riddle is just so fucking quick and does some really crazy shit in the ring. He really brings the MMA shit. I just like Matt Riddle. And Finn Balor seems like, I mean, we've said this about a lot of guys, but Finn Balor has a new fucking, I mean, he is literally rejuvenated in NXT. He's like a new fucking man. He, you know, the heel gimmick is working for him, and he really looks like he's enjoying himself.
Hell yeah.
Being back on NXT. Yeah, and it's coming through in his matches, I'll tell you that.
And I'm glad you said that, Box. That was a perfect little segue to my notes here.
Oh, perfect.
Because what I liked about it was the video package before. You had Matt Riddle. I want the Finn Balor. I don't want the Finn Balor that wrestled on Monday and Tuesday nights. I thought that was a funny little line that they threw into the video package.
Yeah, and Doc said he's like Patty LaBelle. He's got a new attitude.
No, but seriously, like it goes to show you put somebody in a fresh environment and you give, like, Finn strikes me as one of those guys. If he has something to sink his teeth into, his in-ring performance is going to reflect that. Let's be honest, the last 6 months to a year, you could tell. I mean, I'm not saying he was having necessarily bad matches, but you could tell he was going through the motions. It was just like, pin me, pay me, or whatever the fuck you want me to do. He was Intercontinental Champion. Antox had pointed out on one of our recent episodes. I had no fucking idea that happened. I totally forgot about that run, which tells you how invested he, the company, and us as fans were into it.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, and they're even letting him point the old Bullet Club guns on NXT. So.
Because he's the prince. He's the prince again, bro.
There you go. He's back to being the prince. I don't know. It's just pretty cool. And I like seeing Balor look. I mean, he just, like I said, he looks rejuvenated, and it comes through in his matches. And Riddle, I really think Riddle could have a good match with pretty much anybody. I haven't seen him have a bad match. So.
Yeah. And the loss here doesn't hurt him, but it would have definitely hurt Balor. So. I'm glad to see that the NXT creative team is doing right by Balor.
Yeah.
Because a babyface is only as good as the heel he's standing across the ring from. So the fact that Balor went over relatively clean gives me hope that this run is going to be very beneficial to not only him, but the NXT. And it kind of shows that WWE is very serious. Not so much, I feel like people are putting too much emphasis on the AEW threat here. I feel like they're in the position where they're trying to make NXT a viable brand. It's in their best interest. It's in USA's best interest to make NXT as big and as bad as it possibly can be. And if AEW falls by the wayside in the process, that's just a bonus. But I don't feel like all of the moves that they're making with NXT has less to do with AEW and more to build up NXT as a viable touring brand.
Right. Yep. Makes sense to me. Smark, anything on the Riddle Balor?
No, I'm going to just echo some sentiments there with the whole Balor thing. Like, I feel like it's kind of a combination of things. Like, when you perform in front of the NXT crowd, by and large, pretty much every week, the crowd's hype. So when the crowd's excited and the crowd's happy and enthusiastic, like, you're going to give it back to them. Versus, having to perform, like, just fucking a nowhere show in Kansas and nobody gives a shit and the crowd's dead half the time, And I feel like when he was part of, the Raw and SmackDown, the whole thing, they basically neutered him in order to set it up so that it meant something when he did the whole demon thing. But if he doesn't care and you don't care about him before he turns into the demon, when he turns into the demon, does it really matter? So they're actually letting him kind of taking the training wheels off, and now even when if he does end up doing the demon thing again, it's going to be even more important than it was before. So it's nice that they're letting him be himself, and he seems like he's rejuvenated, so that's good.
Yeah. All right, that's good. All right, so let's get into this main event. What do you say, guys?
Sure.
All right, it was Team Ciampa versus the Undisputed Era. Team Ciampa was Keith Lee, Tommaso Ciampa, Dominic Dijakovic, and special guest was Kevin fucking Owens, man. What a fucking pop for Kevin Owens, by the way. And the Undisputed Era. I come on. Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish. There you go. This match
insane.
Insane. The ending, that fucking last move, fucking Ciampa put on Cole through the tables off the top of the cage.
Now, Box,
yeah,
I'm gonna get to that, but I want to throw something out there to you because once again, took notes. So at the beginning of the match, you know, at the Undisputed Era, we're having like a powwow, and Cole was set up. I'm going in the ring. I'm gonna be first. I'm the captain, right? And then you got Roderick Strong jumping in there. No, let me do it. And then on commentary, they pointed out that was a smart move because they said endurance. Like, he's the most well-conditioned of the four, and, like, It's hard to tire that guy out. And I gotta say, I don't disagree. And because this is War Games, I want to throw to you, Box, because, you know, you came up in the 80s when War Games was first created. Did you notice the Horsemen back in the day? They were always, like, preeminent. They were, like, known for the War Games in the 80s against Dusty's team and whoever the other top baby faces were, you know, Sting, Road Warriors, Nikita, et cetera, et cetera. They would always let Arn start off the matches. Like, and Dusty's even said over the years that Arn set the tone. He set the pace. And they always try, and obviously whoever starts off War Games, you have to have a lot of faith, a lot of trust in that person.
Right.
Do you think in this situation here, Roddy has that rep? Do you think that he's the guy, if you're going to go into like a team type match like this, that he's the right guy to start off a match? Because I thought that was a very interesting comparison. Not they didn't compare Roddy to Arn, but it just kind of popped in my head when they kind of said like he's endurance. You know, he's all about the endurance. He's the best guy to start this match off. And I just thought of Arn Anderson back in the day that he would always start off the War Games matches. That
makes sense. He's little. He's got the endurance. So especially in honestly compared to back then in 2019, yeah, this is who you want starting a match like this. Yeah, I definitely think it was the right thing to do, especially with you know, and the other guys. I mean, let's face it, they all got the same. They're all kind of endurance guys. They're all little. They're all ripped, and they're all fucking. You know, what are you gonna do? Pretty much flip a coin. Any four of them could have gone in, really. So why not have Roderick Strong go in? You know why? I don't care about him anyway. So get him over with. Get him over with, and I'm good with it. To me, I got to be honest with you, the man in this match, and I completely agree. I know that Ciampa did the crazy move, but Sean Sangaversi, I agree with you. Keith Lee came out of this whole weekend the fucking star to me, and even in this match, this motherfucker, Keith Lee is a goddamn beast of a fucking man, dude.
Yeah, and I gotta say, man, like we always have our fears whenever somebody with any type of buzz, whether it be on the Indies, NXT, we always have like that fear, that worry about what's going to happen when they get called up or called down, depending on how you want to look at it, to the main roster. But I gotta say, between Takeover and Survivor Series, WWE really did right by Keith Lee. They see something in a guy, and they did right by him. So I'm not even going to bitch on anything they did with that guy this weekend, because from the presentation here in the War Games to getting the rub, which we'll get to in the Survivor Series co-main event, they really did right by this guy this weekend. And I see big things in his future.
Yeah, I do too. I just hope they don't make him, let's say, like a Braun Strowman-ish character. I don't want to see him dancing down to the ring. I want to see the beast that this guy really is. So
no, and I'll give Smart credit for this guy. I forgot what episode it was, but he pointed out the smirk.
Yeah,
that he kind of throws out there, and like he has like a certain heel swagger that I'm picking up on right now, and there's a lot of money in that. There's a lot of money in that down the line. I don't know how they can. I don't know how that's going to translate with his work rate, because he works a guy that big doing what he does. is going to get babyface reactions. So if he ever does go heel, I'm not sure how his in-ring style is going to change.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to change. That's the only thing that kind of like makes me go, I don't really want him to turn heel, because they're going to fucking tone down his style, because they're not going to want him to get those babyface reactions.
Yeah, but they don't need to change his style because he just works a big man style. So, not completely. I guess he does some crazy flips.
You're not going to see him doing like fucking flips and moonsaults and they're going to tone that shit down, bro.
Yeah, they would. But yeah, right now, like I said, I credit to Sean. I totally agree with him. He really was probably the star of this week. Besides the women, I'll put the women. You know what? I believe they're probably on the same level. But Keith Lee just really stood out this fucking weekend, man, as a great fucking talent. So, there we go. I believe we knocked out NXT. What do you guys? Let's see.
Smart. Anything on Keith?
Yeah,
Lee?
smart.
You're a fan.
Keith Lee main event. Talk about it. Get it out. Come on.
Big fan. I don't want to talk too much about him because we still got to cover his performance in the Survivor Series match. But I believe it was last Friday, maybe. I don't, obviously we have no way of knowing this shit. It's purely speculation. I, for quite a while now, have believed that the supporter in his corner more than anyone, which might come as a surprise to some people, and this is, again, speculation, just my theory on it, I think Vince is really high on him. He doesn't have his traditional, muscles. He's not ripped to the gills, but he's a big dude. He can do a lot in the ring. He's a former football player. It's checking off a lot of boxes on Vince's checklist. So, this was his first, if I believe I'm correct on this one, this was his first takeover. And he's been with the company for months. But this was the first one that he was booked in. Kind of interesting now that they're on USA, where in theory Vince would be able to have more input, say so, be able to meddle a little bit more with it, that he's getting more prominently featured. I don't feel like that's a coincidence. It could very well still be Triple H, but who knows? One thing I do want to touch on, though, that we didn't mention, the spot to end the match, we talked about that, but there's a little bit of controversy following the end of the match.
Of course.
The cameraman showed somebody who perhaps they shouldn't have shown. They mentioned it on commentary. Adam Cole's girlfriend, wife, I'm not exactly sure who he is, but they are romantically entangled.
Girlfriend.
The mayor of Britsburg herself, Britt Baker, was in the house.
Jesus, look, it's a fucking action-packed week when we forget to talk about Britsburg herself.
Oh, sometimes I heard she can be a Brit Bull. Oh, that was a Brit bullshit joke. Anyway, yeah, they did. They showed her. They did. Did Morrow mention her by name?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't watch with headphones on, and the kids were running around, so I didn't hear what much of the commentary. I know Morrow was crazy, and Corey. Well, we need to bring that up too. Real quick before we do end NXT, might as well just throw that in there because it's totally related. But I didn't hear her mention her by name. But hey, you know what, dude? Let's be honest, man. Do you know who would fire her for being at another show?
Nobody.
WWE.
Yeah,
they fire. I mean, I put it to you like this: they did it to be. Let's be honest. They did it to be dicks. I don't bother. We had no idea. Fuck that. Because if you'll remember, and Britt Baker, for all intents and purposes, is pretty high profile in AEW, so they knew what the fuck they was doing.
Yeah.
Because by comparison, if you'll remember, this is going back. This is when I was still watching TNA pretty regularly. There was one of the Highlanders.
I think Rory.
Yeah. He was in a crowd at a TNA show. Now, mind you, at this point, he was pretty low on the totem pole.
Right.
And they still put this dude on blast. And which everybody universally agreed it was a dick move on TNA's part. He was just there, he got friends backstage. He was just there, checking out the show. So it was a dick move on TNA's part to put the guy on camera like that. But WWE wasted no time. I don't even think they bothered burying him on TV. They just released him.
I think you're right. I think they did.
Pretty much. And like I said, TNA was totally in the wrong for that. But the difference is Rory was expendable. So WWE didn't give a fuck. So it was easy to cut him loose. Yeah. Britt Baker is a little different. Like, she was brought up on TV this week, so I think it was water under the bridge. AEW is still a young company. They have a limited roster, so they can't really afford, unless you fuck up on a major level, they really can't afford to be cutting people this early in the game.
Yeah.
Now, allegedly, the excuse that they gave was that the cameraman was instructed to find the person who was reacting the most passionately or the most emotionally towards the end of the match and what they had just seen. That was the logic they gave for why they put her on there. But, like we said, Morrow mentioned her by name. He didn't go, AEW superstar, Britt Baker, but he said Britt Baker, and if, in order for that name to mean anything, you would have to know who that was. You'd have to know that she was in AEW. And if he says by name, then you get people who don't know, they look it up online, they're like, I honestly don't think it did too much to really kind of hurt AEW. I think if anything, it helped because it was like a whole big controversy, and it like might have brought a couple of people into the fold that might not have been. So it's kind of interesting.
Maybe not. I mean, wrestling fans are wrestling fans. We seek out so much wrestling. I don't know. And maybe they quietly.
To the 6 people. I guess to the 6 people that cared, it was a big deal. Like, ooh, like, but it's Britt Baker. If anything, I was shocked that WWE mentioned her by name just because it's AEW. The rule is you don't acknowledge your competition, because to Smark's point, that gave AEW more of a rub. So why would they be upset about it? Put her name out there. Talk good about me, talk bad about me, just talk about me.
Well, they would say, see, that just shows we don't see him as competition, man.
Matt Riddle, what are you doing on commentary?
Oh, sorry, man. Bro. Anyway. Anyway, let's get into, listen, speaking of Morrow, I don't know, maybe they quietly suspended him for saying it and used Corey as a little scapegoat here. Want a conspiracy theory? You want to do some conspiracy theory?
Yeah, I actually thought this was going to be the main event, but because I got a lot of thoughts on this. But Box, I'll let you start because you'll be more diplomatic.
Yeah, I might not be as diplomatic as you think. Let's see what happens here. During the NXT pay-per-view Takeover Wargames, Corey Graves, I don't have the tweet in front of me, but basically it said, you wouldn't know it, but there is a Hall of Famer and a former ROH champion on commentary. And that was pretty much right.
I wonder who was talking about.
Yeah, again, I'm paraphrasing. I don't have the tweet in front of me, but I believe that's close to what it said. I going by memory, which we all know isn't great. So, and obviously this was during it. And listen, we all know Morrow's a bit of listen, he's been very upfront about his mental health issues, his bipolar disorder, and he takes stuff like this very sensitively. A part of me wants to say stop being a pussy, but then you got to realize this is bipolar disorder. That is they take things a little more seriously. They're a little more sensitive to things than other people are. That's what can set them off. That's what can bring them, up and down and this and that. So you do have to take that into consideration when doing this. There's my diplomatic part right there, Anthony. So, but
that's right.
Well, let me finish. But does Corey Graves need to just? I get that he likes being the dude that'll say anything, the savage on the microphone. But dude, do you really need to be a dick when you know Morrow can do this? When you know a guy who's been open about issues, do you have to be a fucking dickhead? Seriously? No reason for it. Same company, exactly. You're on the same fucking team. Calm the fuck down. You want to fucking say that to someone? DM a buddy. DM someone on the roster that shit. Let them fucking laugh at it quietly. Come on, man. It's just it's fucked up in my opinion. And Corey Graves just needs to fucking back the fuck off. Oh, great, he apologized. Think that means anything tomorrow? I don't think
that's
it does.
That's a bullshit apology. I
mean,
and I actually have it pulled up. And it kind of to piggyback off what you said, something you say a lot, Box. And I mean this in a good way. This is a publicly traded company.
Uh-huh.
And regardless of, take the mental health issues out of it for a second. This is no way to conduct yourself when you work for a publicly traded company. Coming off the heels of Triple H saying, not too terribly long before this, that you should handle your business behind the scenes. You shouldn't blast it on social media. And then a couple days later, what the fuck happens? You blasting business on social media. I've said from Jump Street, this should have been settled. This is a conversation that should have been had in catering. You got to have the guy's phone number. First of all, I've seen it thrown around. Who the fuck is Corey Graves to give criticism? Because Morrow is obviously an IWC legend. He's a god amongst most internet fans, by and large. But nobody's above criticism. Nobody's above criticism, regardless of whether you're a 10-year vet, 1 year in the game, you just learning the ropes. But it's how he went about it. If you don't want to confront the guy, go to management. You're not his boss. This is like a Triple H issue. If Triple H or Vince has a problem with the commentary, you let them handle it. To put a coworker like that on blast, to me, was totally out of fucking line. And I have his apology here because I refuse to listen to that fucking podcast. But let me see. Corey Graves. Corey opens the show by addressing the tweet this past Saturday directed towards Mauro Ranallo during Takeover Wargames. Corey says he thought it was something that could stir up controversy and give him something to talk about on television or on the podcast. He states that it may not have been the most professional way to go about it, but it was never meant to offend, disrespect, or disparage anybody. That was never his intention. If someone took it as such, he apologizes. Graves goes on to say that he didn't mean to cause anyone any undue stress, especially a coworker. He then apologizes again. Fuck that apology. That was spin.
All right.
That was spin.
Yeah. Antox hit the fucking nail on the head. It was that, oh, sorry, you were offended apology. The worst. It is, and like he says, the worst type of apology. That's basically, look, I'm sorry you took it that way, but get on with your life. You know what, Corey? Maybe you should have, I did it to stir up some controversy. Wrong fucking guy. You're not Eric Bischoff. Controversy creates cash. Calm the fuck down. Give me something to talk about on the podcast, man, with my hipster fucking friend. Shut the fuck up. Calm the fuck. Seriously. Yeah. No, I'm just saying. He's been towing the company line so long, but he always does this shit. And then when he gives the bullshit apology, the bullshit apology is the big thing now. With all these fucking, I'm sorry, I didn't know that people were going to take it that way. Yeah, they take it that way. It's 2019. You're going to offend people. Happens.
Yeah, and I'm definitely I want to throw to Smart because I definitely want his opinion on this. But I just wanted to add real quick, it's going to be a shitstorm on WWE, on Corey Graves especially, if this ends up pushing Morrow out of the company, because this guy been doing this shit for a long time. And you notice all of these issues, people saying, well, mental issues, he might have been off his medication. That's bullshit. This guy has worked you never hear about these issues when he works anywhere else. Showtime, doing different UFC shows. You never hear about fucking, what's the guy, Mike Goldberg giving Morrow shit for his commentary. You never hear about whoever runs Showtime giving him grief. This shit only pops up with WWE. So clearly, he can't be the fucking problem. The common denominator here is WWE and some of their employees. I feel like, look, he's a grown man, but it's been established he has some issues. So you kind of have, this isn't a bully. I'm not going to go like the social justice, the white knight route here, but he's a guy that you have to kind of treat with kid gloves because he's been very open. He's been very open, and it's been pretty much publicly established that this guy has some serious issues. So you have to treat him with kid gloves. you can't treat him like one of the boys who, I'll fuck with him a little bit, he'll get over it. Bullshit. And I just think it's a dick move to go after somebody who has these type of issues.
I know it's smart, but before I forget what I'm going to say, this isn't you know what? No, you don't need to treat people with kid gloves. That's not what it's about. How about treating a coworker with decency and common respect? Plain and simple. You don't throw fucking coworkers under the fucking bus. Not unless you're looking to get yourself ahead and be that fucking guy. It's got nothing to do with kid gloves. No one should have to treat him with kid gloves. They should just treat him with fucking common decency and respect, just like any fucking coworker deserves. Just like you, Corey, should expect to be treated by everyone else. Is anyone throwing him under the bus when he fucking was sitting there just literally arguing with Renee Young the whole time? Did anyone, did any of his coworkers say, "Hey, Corey, why don't you shut the fuck up and quit messing with Renee Young"? No, it was fans. No coworker did that. None. So anyway, kid gloves aren't necessary. Decency and respect is. Smart, I'm sorry to cut you off. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. First off, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. Like, and I don't honestly know that much about bipolar. That's not really my mental health issue that I track in. But nobody at their job wants to be treated that way. Mental health issue or not, like, nobody wants to be treated like that by a coworker. And like, sometimes, you mess with the wrong person like that, and it's gonna be. But the thing is like, he, let he without sin cast the first stone. He has plenty that can be talked about and throw back at him. Yeah. He's had problems with alcoholism. He's had problems with, I believe he had suicidal urges, tendencies, whatever, maybe some depression. Like, that's all public knowledge. It's all been, brought to the fore. Like, when you've had as many issues in your life as he has had, like, maybe you don't, fucking throw somebody, like you said, throw somebody under the bus. Like, he is far from perfect himself. And it's like, okay, it is logic, and we all agree it's a bullshit apology. But the whole thing is, okay, to create controversy. For what? You're not going to have a fucking wrestling match. Neither of you can, one of you didn't learn how to wrestle. One of you physically can't wrestle anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, what is it going to lead to? What is the point? There's no, like, you really want to fucking throw away a professional relationship with somebody so you can get a couple more fucking listeners on your podcast? You can get a fucking couple of extra ads, make a little bit of more money. Like, what the fuck is the point of it? Like, it's just pointless, purposeless. There's no point, there's no meaning, there's no logic behind it. It's just him being an asshole because he thinks he's clever. Like, and like, it's not the first time he's done this. It's not going to be the last time he's done this. There's just always going to be that one kind of JBL like who just follows the old-fashioned rules of treating everybody who he thinks above like shit.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we just spent 15 minutes on it, so he's kind of getting what he wants. But sure. Anyway, fuck it, we're done. Let's fucking move on and talk about Survivor Series. Anyone disagree with me there? I don't care. I don't care. I can turn you both down. Anyway, I'm just kidding, guys. Anyway, this is another show. I did not watch the pre-show. There were 3 matches on the pre-show. Who watched the pre-show? You guys?
Did watch the pre-show. Cannot tell you who won the Battle Royal. I forgot about that, but I remember the other ones.
Battle Royal. You mean the Ziggler and Rude won the Battle Royal.
There you go. There was that. Then I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be chronological order, but there was a triple threat tag team match.
Yep.
War Raiders won that one.
That one. Leo Rush.
Oh yeah.
Tozawa and Kalisto. Leo Rush retained his title. There you go. Those were the 3 matches on the pre-show. Perfect. God damn, we just cut it down to 7 matches. Perfect. I love it. Okay.
Hey.
Are we ready?
Yes.
All right. Anthony's on mute, so we don't have to hear anything from him right now. And I guess this was another one that started with the women's match, right? Oh, there's Anthony.
Yes, it was.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Again, we start with the women's match, and once again,
we on Survivor Series. Sorry about that, by the way, folks.
No, we moved on. We got angry at Corey Graves and said, "Fuck it, we're done. Let's move on to Survivor Series." And we're on the first match of Survivor Series, though. The Team NXT versus Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. 5-on-5-on-5 women's triple threat elimination match. It was, let's see here. Team NXT was Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, and Toni Storm. I can't believe any of these girls were back out after the match they had on Saturday. And they defeated Team Raw, which was Charlotte Flair, Natalya, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Sarah Logan. And Team SmackDown was Sasha Banks, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Nikki Cross.
Now, let me ask you guys something. What did you guys think of them basically keeping a scorecard throughout the night? Started off on a pre-show and then they carried it over throughout the night.
Didn't mind that at all. It's Survivor Series. I got no issues with that. Yeah. Good gimmick for Survivor Series. But this match, once again, the NXT girls just, I hate to say this, but they're outworking both brands, in my opinion. Both brands.
I agree.
And, thank God we got to see Toni Storm's fine ass out there again.
No, if anything, if you noticed, they had to it felt like at different points in the match, they actually had to dumb down their style a little bit to kind of, so the main roster women could keep up.
Yeah, they had to slow down a little bit. The match, listen, this wasn't the best match, but I also gave it a little bit of fucking slack due to Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Candice LeRae, and Io Shirai being in that fucking War Games match. But yeah, they did look like a couple times they had to slow it down a little bit in order for the other girls to keep up with them. But This was a great starting match, and again, all the women in this match did really fucking good. Wasn't the greatest match, it wasn't. Especially, I watched NXT right before I watched Survivor Series, and that probably wasn't the greatest idea because I still had that fucking that fucking War Games match on my mind. But this was still a good match in my opinion. Either one of you guys, go for it.
The Mist was cool. I'll say that.
I love Mist. I do love the Mist. I'm not gonna lie.
Even though I think they're kind of like overdoing it a little bit. I think they kind of need to scale back on it.
No, more. I want more Mist. I love the Mist. More Mist. Shut up, Anthony. Bite your tongue. What I mean. Bite your tongue.
If you see it too much, it's not as special.
I don't care. More Mist. Bite your tongue. They both should be doing it. Different colors. Both different colors.
Yeah, what is up with that, by the way? Because, I don't know what it is. Charlotte really seems to enjoy getting misted in the face. And I don't necessarily mean that as entendre, but if that's where we end up, that's where we end up.
Yeah, somewhere Hulk, the Incredible Hulk was smiling. It just looked horrible. She really did. I mean, she fucking pulled her hair back for that shit too, man.
Yeah. And it was blatant on Raw. You basically saw it. You knew the spot was coming when she literally stood in front of Asuka and was pulling her hair in place.
Oh,
don't get it on my hand. And that's what I mean, though, man. When you can telegraph shit like that, I mean, at least make it look organic and natural.
Hold on, did you say don't get it in my hair?
Uh-huh.
That seemed like that's where you were about to go, and it seemed like you just kind of auto-corrected halfway through that point.
Don't get it in my hair.
Yeah, that was like a self-edit.
I'll take the heat for that one. But yeah, she's taken that Mist 4 or 5 times in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, she got a great.
She's all about that Mist action.
Yeah, she's all about that facial action.
Yeah, I mean, the match itself was what it was. I just couldn't shake the fact that the NXT women literally killed themselves the night before.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley is standing next to women smiling her ass off that tried to beat the fuck out of her the night before. And to me, like, that whole brand loyalty shit, it really kind of fucks with the continuity of NXT, because NXT's normally good about staying in character and keeping things continuity. Like, if two people hate each other, they're not tagging, they're not smiling, they're not buddies. Like, the only consistent character throughout the whole build-up of this invasion shit has been Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, but
like literally, and that just like irked me a little bit. Like, come on, man! Like, at least sell that you have a little bit of angst. You picked these women because it was for the greater good, but at the same time, at least sell the fact that you still don't like them.
According, WWE has that feeling that we have no memory, and they're like, no one remembers NXT anyway.
All right, perfect example. I got notes here. Oh. So you have Io Shirai and Candice LeRae taken out relatively early in the match.
Yeah.
They were friends in NXT, then they, split off, became mortal enemies. Why the fuck are they buddy? But why the fuck are they buddy helping Rhea Ripley win the match? What, 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later? It just, like, little things like that. Like I said, it seems like I'm nitpicking, but little things like that chip away at the credibility of a storyline when you want people to care about it down the line.
Well, because you want your paycheck signed. That's the only reason. That's the only reason I can think of, Anthony. You do what you're told. I don't know. I got nothing.
I mean,
I got nothing.
Circumstances that it happens under, like, I feel like it's fine for a one night only thing. Like, if you keep doing it throughout the year, then I totally agree with that. But if the whole thing is just, okay, yeah, I don't like this person, but I know this person's good at what they do, it's kind of respect through battle, that whole bullshit. Like, I'm not saying that I like it. I'm just saying I've accepted it for what it is.
Yeah.
Taking it, as you like to say.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. It does mess with the continuity of NXT and the show and everything. But when it comes down to it, it's Survivor Series, and what are you gonna do? There's nothing. It's wrestling, dude. How many times have we seen fucking people that hate each other, and then the next night they force them to be in a tag match, and they actually do okay? It happens, dude. It's wrestling.
Well, like the Royal Rumble, like, I'm not saying that it's any better or that it justifies it, but like the Royal Rumble, how many times have we seen like one tag team member eliminate the other person in the tag team, like, well before they would have had to? Mm-hmm. Just because it is the Royal, just circumstantial little things like that. Every once in a while, I don't really have a problem with. It's just as long as it doesn't go throughout the year.
Yeah, not a big deal. But again, this was a good starting match. The women once again all kicked ass in this match. I think NXT definitely deserved to win this match. Those girls really can outwork the fucking both brands. Anything else on that match, or should we move along?
Moving along.
All
Good,
right.
solid opener, but man, it doesn't hold a candle to the women the night before.
No, it definitely doesn't. This was the champion versus champion triple threat match. This was Roderick Strong, NXT's North American champion, and he defeated AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. AJ Styles is the United States champion. Nakamura is the SmackDown. Why does it say SmackDown's Intercontinental? There's only one Intercontinental champion. There's only one.
They want to emphasize, bro. They want to emphasize the show.
Jesus Christ, Wiki.
In case you forget.
Fucking Wiki. Anyway, but Roderick Strong won that match again. This was I'm very surprised NXT had the night they did. I believe I picked AJ Styles. I believe all three of us picked AJ Styles to win this match, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Right? Didn't we all?
Yeah, I did.
I'm pretty sure I did too. I think we all agreed and moved on with this one. But
I actually believe it or not, I'm not even trying to say it to be smart. I think I actually did pick Roderick Strong. I can't remember. Somebody will correct me in the chat if I'm wrong.
You might.
But I think I remember picking Roddy.
You might have. I'm not gonna argue with you or say you didn't. You definitely could have. But look, this was just when you think Nakamura's got that fucking spark back, he kind of just sits. I felt he kind of sat back in this match and let Roddy and AJ do a lot of it. But I definitely thought this was a really good match. I liked AJ in it. Again, I'm just not the biggest Roderick Strong fan, so whatever. Go ahead, guys.
Roddy was the workhorse in this match, man, and even Nakamura. I gotta disagree a little bit there.
All right.
This is probably one of his best performances in a while, man. Because I don't know, did you guys get the vibe that he was trying to maybe give Roddy a little boost during the course of this match? Because they did work a lot together in Ring of Honor. And it just seemed like he was trying to, I don't know. It's just like Nakamura strikes me as one of those guys where if he's in the ring with somebody he likes, he respects, he'll go the extra mile. And I picked up on that at different points during the course of this match.
Good, Smart.
That's entirely possible. I'm going to kind of go ahead and agree with Anthony a little bit. I actually thought it was one of the better matches of the night. I thought it had potential to be the best match of the night. I don't think it lived up to that. And I'm kind of with you. I don't really care too much about Roderick Strong as an individual, but he does put on good matches. It's just he has a total lack of character and promo ability and pretty much everything else that isn't in the ring. But in the ring, good worker, put on a good match. I thought it was really good. I don't know about maybe, Nakamura trying to make him shine or anything, but I thought it was good.
Okay. I'm just saying you could literally replace Roderick Strong with about 1,800 other guys in wrestling. Anyway.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying.
For what he is.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But he did pull out the win, which gave NXT their... I guess I got to count the pre-show, right? Gave NXT their 1 second win right there. So that was their third win right there because they win one more. Then we had the Adam Cole-Pete Dunne match. Pete Dunne obviously won the match on NXT, which gave him the match here on Survivor Series. Listen, I'm not the biggest Pete Dunne fan, but the fact that the guy got to have a match on Survivor Series, I'm happy for him. That's great. And, Adam Cole also got to have a singles match on Survivor Series for the championship. And that's fucking great for both of them. And it was a good match. Again, not the biggest Pete Dunne fan still, but, hey, he got a singles match on Survivor Series, one of the big 4 shows. And, that's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah. I'm kind of conflicted on this because the match itself was fantastic, but I feel like they kind of, booked themselves into a corner with it because, number one, the bump Adam Cole took the night before, storyline-wise, he should have been out for at least a month, number one. Number two, you run the risk of burying a guy like Pete Dunne who has his reputation in the ring of being like the bruiserweight, being this killer. If he doesn't beat the dog shit out of a guy like Adam Cole who took that bump the night before and walk out with the title, you kind of run the risk of burying him a little bit. All that said, the match itself was fantastic, but I feel like if you're going to book this type of match, maybe not do an insane bump the night before with the world champion. Yeah, that's just me though.
Yeah, again, man, they kind of, I'm not going to say they erased NXT, but they separated the 2 shows. They brought it up, but they didn't bring it up. You know what I mean? But anyway, Smart, go on with this Adam Cole, Pete Dunne. What you think, man?
Sure. I actually thought that this was, and I'm probably alone on this one, but I actually thought this was my favorite match of the show. I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was really fun. I don't disagree with it, from a logic standpoint, that it doesn't really make sense that Adam Cole, for the most part, is perfectly fine, minus he had some tape on his ribs.
That barely got sold in terms of, Pete Dunne working on a body part. He worked on everything but the obvious. Once again, it's little things.
Actually, now that you mention that, him not working on it at all was kind of silly. But I'm willing to forego, as somebody who my favorite style is the kind of the flippy cruiserweight style, but I'm willing to forego certain loopholes and logic and what have you in order if the match itself is good. And I thought it was a really, really good match. They had a pretty good bump, like an apron bump midway through the match. That was pretty good. It was all in all, I thought it was really good. I kind of go back and forth with Pete Dunne. Like, maybe not the best talker, maybe not the most charismatic, but he's kind of like, and it's the most obvious thing, but he's kind of got a Baby Regal vibe going on. He's not nearly as good on the microphone, because Regal had his own kind of charisma about him, but he's kind of Regal-esque in terms of, like, in-ring stuff. I had a good time with it, though. I thought it was a good match.
All right. I said my piece, so I guess we can move on from there, right, guys?
Right on.
All right. Singles match for the WWE Universal Championship. We have The Fiend Bray Wyatt defeating Daniel Bryan. Now, guys, I gotta immediately, this is now, 3 or 4 matches now with the red light. It's time to stop. It's really time to stop, man. It's hard to see. It's actually getting annoying to me. Maybe, again, my personal opinion, it's getting annoying. I liked it in the beginning. I thought it was cool for maybe the first match. But
question.
Dim it before you finish. Dim it a little more, maybe, but I don't need the red light. Go ahead, Smart. Question, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, and maybe Anthony too, to kind of get your overall opinion on it. How would you feel about that being used as sort of a story mechanism during a match? Where, like, if somebody is really starting to break through and starting to land, like, some really good offense, they have the momentum, whatever, they're really starting to take it to them. Like, the light's starting to kind of change back to normal. Like, almost like it's kind of visually showing that he's, like, being weakened.
To that point, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going back and forth watching this match, which I enjoyed. I feel like whenever he wrestles with the red light, that should be the sign that shit is going to be on. Like, literally, people are about to decapitate it. You're going to see decapitation when that red light comes out. Once you see it all the time, it becomes normal. It becomes a normal part of the presentation. And that should not be the case with The Fiend, because eventually it's going to get old. Even though we only see it on pay-per-views and stuff. But I will say, as far as the red light goes, they should just, like, tone it down a little bit, have him wrestle some regular matches with the light on, and then once you see those red lights, then that's when shit is on. To your point, Smart. I feel like it should just be used for special occasions, and when that red light comes on, some sick shit has to happen. Some similar to what happened at Hell in a Cell, minus the fucked up finish.
I think stop using the fucking red lights and don't be so fucking campy. I'm good with that, in my opinion. Again, my personal opinion. The match itself, though, I actually thought was pretty goddamn good, to be honest with you. The Fiend was... I love the character, and again, Daniel Bryan had to fucking beat the living holy hell out of him to keep him down. I like that the Fiend is no-selling a lot of fucking, really fucking hard moves. I mean, you know, back last pay-per-view, he no-sold the curb stomp like fucking 5 times, and I just love that he's fucking doing the same shit here. But good match in my opinion. I don't know what you guys got to say about it, but
well, it kind of ties into, like, I guess, future plans, because I guess rumor is, you know, we don't know how true it is until it actually happens, but they're going to do Reigns and Wyatt at WrestleMania. What do you? I mean, they're having the Fiend. He's pretty well protected right now. Now, do you think that, you know, having him no-sell all of this crazy shit just to have him lose to a spear and a Superman punch is going to get Reigns right back to square one? Because that would be kind of like, that would undo a lot of damage. I mean, that would undo a lot of the goodwill that they've kind of, like, restored in the Bray Wyatt character. Because let's be honest, if this character falls off a cliff, then Bray Wyatt is damaged goods at that point. No coming back. So do you think that they're kind of setting themselves up for a major L here? having him no-sell all of this shit just to end up losing to a fucking Superman punch and a spear?
I know that you would expect if that did happen. Again, rumor, so we're speculating way into the future here, but that's I don't. You could not have Reigns win that match. It wouldn't. There'd have to be either fuckery or he'd have to lose, which I think would be his first Mania loss, by the way. But who better to do it than The Fiend? So you couldn't. There's no way. And if they did, yeah, it would completely ruin the character. I agree with you, Anthony.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you do at that point? Because they're basically like, even the Undertaker at his undead worst or undead best, depending on your perspective, still sold. They got this dude no-selling every fucking thing. Hammer shots, sledgehammer shots, 87 curb stomps. So, I mean, they're setting themselves up. They literally are booking themselves into a corner here because what is it going to take to beat him? Losing to a roll-up would be hokey. Losing to a regular finish at this point would be hokey too because we've seen him kick out from like hammer shots to the head.
Yeah.
Like, well, how do you beat the Fiend at this point? Logically.
And by the way, Antox corrected me, which I appreciate always him doing. I have no problem with it. Roman Reigns lost at Mania 31 and Mania 34, so he has lost twice at Mania. So I stand corrected. Thank you, Antox. Sorry, Anthony. Smart.
No, I was just,
okay.
Smart. Go to Smart.
Oh, you were wrapped up. Okay, go ahead, Smart.
Sure. I guess I'm going to kind of touch on both of those things real quick. Like in terms of actual thoughts about the match, I feel like it's a testament to Daniel Bryan's ability because I feel like we all knew what was up. We all knew that he wasn't going to win. We all knew that the Fiend was going to win the match. Right. But the best wrestlers can kind of make you suspend disbelief for a little while. Like I thought, I didn't ever think that he was actually gonna win, but he actually looked like for the most part, a viable competitor, a viable threat to actually, maybe beat him. But, and it kind of reminded me of like back in the day, like how Bret Hart would sometimes when he fought bigger people, I'm sorry to mention Bret Hart, I just realized what I have done. He would use his sort of knowledge and sort of strategy to kind of balance the disadvantage. Like I remember him doing that in a match against Yokozuna where he kind of used his environment and his know-how to kind of prevail. Kind of reminded me of that. As far as the whole Roman Reigns thing, him beating Bray at WrestleMania, if that does indeed end up happening, I don't think anything that you would do would like not have the fans shit all over it if you indeed decided to put him over. Like I don't think there's any level of fuckery or you could give him like 18 Superman punches and 18 spears and it wouldn't be enough because anytime you have WrestleMania, regardless of where it's at, you're going to have the more internet, smarky, anti-Roman style crowd. So if you're the only way, if you're gonna have the Fiend lose at WrestleMania at all, you got to put him against somebody who the crowd accepts and the crowd likes. Yeah. Otherwise, and especially Roman, like it's gonna be boos no matter what you do if you have him go over. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much that's what you're gonna get. But all right, that was that match, guys. Go on to we have 3 matches left, and then we can stop this fucking match by match bullshit. Let's see. We had the 5-on-5 men's Survivor Series triple threat elimination match. And once again, Survivor Series, I love these elimination style matches. This is one of my favorite pay-per-views. I don't know why. I just really do. But we had Team SmackDown, which was Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Baron Corbin, Mustafa Ali, and Shorty G. They defeated Team Raw, which was Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Ricochet. And Team NXT, which was Ciampa, Priest, Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, and Walter. By the way, before I even move past Walter, another guy over as fuck, even with this fucking, main crowd. Holy shit, did he get a fucking great fucking pop coming out there, Walter.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Fox, because, I I sent you the little message on Facebook a couple days ago when I was actually watching Survivor Series. I actually kept tabs on all of the eliminations in order, but I'm not going to bore you guys with that. I did want to mention the Walter elimination. Do you think that reaction that when the crowd shit on that, you think that reaction kind of caught WWE off guard? Because they took him out of the match relatively early. Do you think they kind of look at him like a good little mechanic, but people won't care about him because the crowd shit on that? When McIntyre pinned him, the crowd really shit on like him getting eliminated relatively early in the match.
He was first eliminated, if I'm not mistaken.
He was.
He was. That was worth the boo. But again, Drew didn't give a fuck. He's a heel anyway, but so is Walter. I don't know. I don't think it was a good idea to take him out first. I really don't. I would have loved to have seen Walter in there longer and maybe take out a couple of guys, but I guess they thought they've already given NXT enough due and just kind of wanted to leave it for later. So I don't know. I think it was a bad idea personally, but yeah, that was definitely met with some bad fucking reactions. And no, I don't think WWE gives a fuck.
Yeah, but it is a shame because, a lot of times when they throw together, especially in recent years, you can kind of like tell pecking order wise who matters and who doesn't when they book. Because a lot of times with these Survivor Series matches, like I said, at least in the last few years, it'll be a hodgepodge of guys.
Right.
And you can always tell based on how somebody's eliminated where they stand on the pecking order, where they stand. Sometimes it's for storyline reasons, but sometimes it's just like guys are just thrown in matches to be a body, like a warm body. And I felt like Walter, I'm not like the biggest fan of his style, but I do appreciate it. I feel like he deserved a hell of a lot better. At least give him an elimination.
Yeah.
At least give him something to hang his hat on because we reviewed some of his matches in NXT and the guy's a fucking beast, man. That guy lays his shit. There is no fucking in between. There's no he leaves no room for error. Put it to you like that in his matches. He lays his shit in. It's tight. Yeah. It's very, very convincing.
Let him take out fucking Shorty G. Let him take out a fucking Ricochet. And have him go up against fucking Braun a little more. That's what I would have done. And again, fantasy booking, this is personally what I would have done. That's what I would have done. I would have him in there. And, I just don't see why they had to do it. I don't see the logic behind it, but go ahead, Smart. I was done.
Sorry. I feel like they do this by and large, like every year at the Survivor Series. Like every year in either the women's match or the men's match, it seems like usually the men's match, there's always a real quick elimination, and it usually tends to be somebody that the fans tend to favor. I don't know why they do this, but it seems like it's just kind of something to just kind of jolt everybody back awake that they might have lost during the earlier matches. I thought this was going to happen, but not to him. I actually thought this was going to happen to Keith Lee. I don't know why. I just expected there to be kind of a bullshit elimination that everybody got upset about, and I picked the wrong guy on that one. But it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny because when they started chanting bullshit, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but like Riddle sort of looked over at the hard cam and just kind of smiled like he didn't necessarily disagree.
Oh, Matt Riddle, boy, he's the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, dude, he's awesome. That dude is fucking awesome. And he lasted longer than I thought he would, too. He lasted till 6. And again, Anthony, I'm just looking at Wiki here. You can always refer to Wiki, by the way, for those eliminations.
I was trying to be professional, Box. Damn it.
Well,
trying to be professional.
Well, you can fake professional when you have Wiki, sir.
Now, you brought up Riddle. Were you surprised to see him get the elimination on Randy Orton? Because he's basically they built him up as like Mr. Survivor Series. Because if you do a little research on his background in Survivor Series, pretty impressive record in terms of eliminations and sole survivor.
I thought that was a little nod towards Riddle there, in my opinion. I definitely did. I thought that when I saw it too. I was like, damn, that's a pretty big elimination for Riddle. So, and my wife had no clue what I was talking about, so she just walked away. You know, but she was in the room at the time when I said it, and she was just like, "Who are you talking to? What are you talking about?" And blah 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 blah. But again, this match, Keith fucking Lee, who went to the fucking end, and I was absolutely fucking. I thought this was going to be another one. I thought they were going to have a really fucking. I mean, they had a great night NXT, but to have Keith Lee get beat by Roman Reigns was a little, I don't want to say sad. It was a little sad. It was a little disappointing. It was a little bit of a downer because I kind of wanted Keith Lee to win at this point. I mean, the guy had beat, after the whole fucking match, he make it you knew they were going to, once it came down to it, you knew who they were going to fucking give it to. But, still a great match. Keith Lee put on a fucking excellent fucking show, and good for him. I see big things in that guy's future if used correctly, which is a fucking. I mean, it's like a 70-30 chance, and.
No, this is a situation where look, I was like you. Part of me wanted to cringe when it came down to Lee and Reigns because I already knew the outcome.
Oh, yeah.
But this is one of those situations where I feel like he gained more in defeat than he would have in victory. Because if you remember, before it came down to him and Reigns, they gave him the key elimination. They had him eliminate Rollins, which was pretty fucking impressive. And also, they had him go toe-to-toe with Reigns, kicked out of some of his big spots. And even after Reigns won, it took a lot for Reigns to beat him, number one. Number two, they did the endorsement at the end. And you got to figure, it's almost like it was with my point with the Riddle and Balor match. I feel like this is something that they can go back to later on down the line. And it'll mean more, if the booking's right, it'll mean more when he beats Reigns down the line. Yeah. As opposed to if he had won it here and then like they really don't do anything with it, because I don't see them bringing up Keith Lee to the main roster anytime soon. So it really wouldn't have meant nothing in a grand scheme of things. Like he beats Reigns, oh great, then he's going to be shipped back off to NXT and they're going to ignore it because Reigns is going to be, they're going to want to keep Reigns in a certain light. So it's almost like it was better that he lost here, looked strong in defeat, had Reigns do the endorsement deal, and then go back to this down the line when they're going to actually be on the same brand and actually in a competitive feud back and forth, as opposed to they're going to be separated again. And then it's like, yeah, he beat Reigns here, but then now they're going to go their separate ways and we're going to barely acknowledge it, because whenever they do these pay-per-views, they talk about it, they build it up for about a month, and then not too terribly long after the actual pay-per-view, it's business back to usual. Business back to usual. And it's like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see a Keith Lee win be forgotten like that. So I'm glad they did it this way and then save the big time payoff for down the line when they're actually on the same brand and it can mean more.
Wow. All right. Smart. Anything, or can we move on to the Lesnar match?
Just real quick. I mean, like, not for nothing, Roman Reigns sold that fucking spirit bomb. Something fierce, man. That was a pretty smooth transition. Yeah. Because he hit that move and then, like, instantly transitioned into the roll-up pinfall. So that was real nice. I got to admit, I hate to say it because I, by and large, don't like him, but I was actually really digging Baron Corbin in this match. Like, he was doing a great job of being a chicken shit heel. He's almost reached Johnny Ace territory, where he's like, he's not good at anything necessarily, but he's so just fucking unlikable and just shitty. Right. He's like almost kind of fun to like. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, the show is over. We're done for the night. All right, I'm kidding.
Is this the cute, cuddly, and adorable Corbin episode?
No.
We gotta add in that adorable now because
this will be brought back next week because I praised Corbin episode.
Yeah. Box barely edits shows, but he's gonna like go back and meticulously take out any Baron Corbin praise. So when you hear this on a download, be grateful that you're listening live, folks, because when you hear this on a download, the Corbin commentary, hell, my commentary right now will be taken out
Yeah. It's been great having Smark on. This is his last week. All right. Last show.
Fair enough.
No, I'm kidding. You know I'm kidding, man. All right. Let's move on to this next match. The no holds barred match between Brock Lesnar defeating Rey Mysterio for the WWE Championship. Listen, we knew this was going to be a ridiculous fuckery match, right? Right? Anyone? Right? We knew it, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah.
Okay. In my opinion, this match turned out exactly the way it needed to even make Rey look like he had the chance. There was the chance. There was no way Rey Mysterio was gonna, in a legit fucking back and forth, be able to keep Brock Lesnar down. Had to be this, but all the shit that Dominic did, it didn't matter. Brock Lesnar still beat the hell out of him. 7-minute match that I swear to God, this match felt like it was fucking 25 minutes, in my opinion. I was not crazy about this match at all. Honestly, the best, if I have to give this match any praise, it would be watching Paul Heyman sell on the outside, which is always my praise. He just, his facial expressions, Paul Heyman is just fucking gold from the time he walks, from the time he steps out of the fucking curtain, man.
No, my little bit of praise, because I like to be positive before I get negative. Dominic impressed in this match, man. Like I said, I don't know who's training him these days. I know he obviously Ray's father. I know Lance Storm's working with him a little bit.
Yeah,
but his bumping, his selling, like, guy continues to impress. I'm not sure how he's going to fare in the future when he's actually in regular matches. But in terms of just like reactions and selling and timing, that shit is on point, man. That shit is on point, man. And it's like one of those things, because to me, it's like people can teach you like the basics and shit, but it takes a special. Some people just have that knack for it in terms of like timing, knowing where to be, knowing how to react to shit. And granted, he's in there with Brock Lesnar, so it's not hard to sell pain, but you get what I'm saying.
True. Very true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, he was in there with Brock, so that's pretty fucking big for someone who's really, not done much. So, but
it's Brock. You can always tell when he respects somebody based on the level of work he puts in, and he bumped around pretty well for a novice and Rey Mysterio, the guy that he can literally shit out.
Well, yeah, and basically the fact that and by the way, and yeah, I totally agree with Antox. That double 619 was pretty fucking cool seeing. And the frog splash Antox brings up, Ray does it so much better. But then again,
Dominic is still learning.
No.
I cut him some slack.
No. I was gonna say, but Dominic's also bigger than Ray. Number one, he's taller. Number two, he's just a bigger guy. So he doesn't have the flexibility Ray does, is all I was saying. I got no problem with the way he does it. You can just tell how much bigger he is. Ray's just such a little flexible, little fucking like a goddamn action figure that you can just move him around and he does what he does. But Dominic, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. I really did like that fucking double 619. It was absolutely really, and like Antox said, it popped me, and I was like, "Damn, that was fucking really cool."
It really was.
Yeah, it was good.
Like, did the father and you perk up there a little bit? Like if that, if I was a wrestler, I would love to have a moment like that with my kid in the ring.
I mean, I didn't get all that sentimental, but it was really cool to see.
No, I just had a visual of like Box Man, and if you became a wrestler way back when, and it timed out to where you and your kid were like the same, like close enough in age to do the wrestling thing together.
Yeah,
you in there taking bumps, almost like a Kurt and Larry the X type of situation.
Just drink a beer with
him. Would you also be dressed like Doink the Clown in this scenario?
No.
No, you know how it would go, Smart. Box would be chilling on the apron. His kid would be doing all the work. He'd be the workhorse of the man, and Vox would get all the glory. He'd get the hot tag, Hawk on him, throw the 3 punches, point. Time to take it home, brother. Time to take it home.
I'm the Robert Gibson of the group, buddy. What can I say?
Yeah, Robert Gibson. That's a damn shame. Robert should be shaming himself, standing back, watching his partner still carry his ass.
Hey, listen, it's a gimmick. It's the way it works. You calm down, sir. Don't, Anthony. Don't do it. Don't do it. Anyway,
Robert Gibson.
And,
I can't tell whether he's coming or going.
All right. Anyway, like I said, I believe this match turned out exactly the way it should have, and there we go. Let's move on. Last match. What did you guys say?
Yes, sir.
Finally, let's do it. It was the women's match for the champion. Once again, we had Shayna Baszler, the NXT Women's Champion. And she defeated Becky Lynch, the Raw Women's Champion, and Bayley, the SmackDown Women's Champion, who she defeated by submission. I was actually, listen, if you compare this match to the main event of WrestleMania where the women main evented again, this match blew it out of the fucking water, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Wow, Box, you're being very kind on that, sir.
I actually enjoyed this match. I don't know what all the bitching was about. I thought it was actually a good match. Shayna, yeah, she still needs work, but I do believe she's one of the more believable women that looks like she can beat the shit out of you. So, I don't know. I actually enjoyed this match. I don't know if it should have been the main event. I'm not going to go there. But again, I think if you look at the two main events side by side, I would say this was the better of the two. I don't know. Go ahead, guys. Disagree with me all you want. Go for it.
Now, I heard an interesting take. Might as well tie this in here. Becky's obviously she's basically like the face of the women's division. Fair to say?
Yeah.
Yep.
She's at the forefront. I heard an interesting take. I saw an interesting take online. I want to give a guy, I think it was Kevin Castle actually. So he basically said something along the lines of Rhea Ripley is everything WWE wishes Becky Lynch was. In terms of like presentation, in terms of badass. Like basically Rhea Ripley comes off as a better badass version of what Becky's trying to do. You guys agree with that? Don't agree with that? Because I was watching it, I didn't really think much of it because then I went back and rewatched this match and I compared the characters for him and I'm like, I kind of get where he's coming from, even though I am a Becky fan. But I don't know. It's like when she's playing off of somebody like a Ronda Rousey, it worked. But when you transition that same character against like a different character, like a what's the Southern gal? What's the Southern girl?
Lacey Evans.
Yeah.
Lacey Evans, or a Bayley, or a Charlotte. Even it doesn't seem to transfer. Like the Ronda stuff seemed organic because it felt like she was legitimately fighting against like the machine. Like, I've been here. I'm the wrestler. You're the outsider. Get out. You're in my ring now. You're in my world. But when you transition that same character, like that, that shooter, that badass to like different feuds, it doesn't necessarily translate.
Yeah. And, I actually, as much as I do like Rhea Ripley, I do agree with Antox. Her promos aren't the best. Becky's promos are better. They're kind of all the same, but her promos are better. But look, they're two different characters, in my opinion. And look, I see his point. They're, this is what they want. They want the badass. They want this. They want that. But one of them's like an Irish ass kicker or lass kicker, excuse me. And the other one is like this gothic, post-apocalyptic girl who just is, is pretty jacked up, and they're just two different characters. I don't really see the comparison between the two, but I kind of see the logic in a way.
I mean, because as far as this match goes, I mean, I like the women involved, but maybe it's because I was still coming off a high of the War Games match. This match just felt underwhelming. It just felt basic in comparison. Like the players involved, especially like in the build up to it. I don't know whether it was because it was a 3-way dynamic or what, but it just seemed like too basic of a match. The actual match didn't match the build up going into it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just reading Aaron's comment. He said Rhea Ripley is the girl who turns your girlfriend lesbian. He said, he probably got a point. And Antox, you're right. Beyond Thunderdome, that post-apocalyptic type girl. That's exactly what she is.
Yeah, I can't even follow that. Smart, you got anything on this
turns
match?
Your girlfriend lesbian.
I mean, that's pretty solid. That is hard to follow. I'm
That
like
is.
scared to give actual
That is
wrestling
that
things.
is. That
I
is.
feel like you said, it was uneventful. Like, I feel like for the people involved, I had higher expectations for it. I didn't think it was bad, just kind of uneventful. I will say, I will defend their choice to put it as the main event. And here's why.
Okay.
I feel like they've finally gotten smart enough to know, because it's like, okay, if you don't put that as the main event, what do you put as the main event? Do you put the Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio match that everybody knows what the outcome is? You put that as the main event? No. I feel like the most logical conclusion would be to put the men's Survivor Series match as the main event.
Yes.
But then you end a show in Chicago with Roman Reigns going over Keith Lee. Not a good look. Like, I feel like they've finally gotten smart enough to not do that shit, and I feel like they should almost be applauded.
All right, you got me. You're right. That is a very, very valid point. And you know what? You're right. If Roman Reigns went there, that crowd would have booed him horribly. You're right. You're right. So yeah, you had no choice but to put that as the main event.
And also, just any match. I'm not going to shit on any match that has Bayley in tight blue pants. Ooh, boy.
Have you realized, like, when she lies on the mat, like, you can actually see, like, through her back, like, you could probably, like, you know, like it's like literally her back won't touch the mat. That's how big her just booty. It's just all booty. Anyway, Anthony, you're trying to say something over there.
No, I was just like, yeah.
No, you're just touching yourself. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, yeah, I just, I saw that little ring on Skype moving. I didn't know what it was.
Okay, you digging yourself a grave over there.
Look, I just saw I just saw the little ring on Skype moving. I knew you were trying to do something over there. I didn't know what it was, but all right. So Raw. Or is that it? Are we done with Survivor Series? Want to give it ratings or anything? Want to grade it? I don't know. We just want to move on to Raw.
Ratings wise, I enjoyed NXT more. Maybe it's because it flowed better.
Oh yeah,
shorter runtime, shorter number of matches. But this Survivor Series was not bad. Certainly, I would say at least in the top 10 of the of recent years, last few years.
All right, so we usually do the old 1 out of 5 raindrops for the old school listeners out there.
NXT, I would give 5.
NXT, I'm going 5. Smart.
NXT, I'll go 5.
All right, Survivor Series, I'm gonna go 3, and I'll go 4 and 4.5. 4. Let's go 4. I kind of want to go 3.5. I can't go between 3.5 and 4.
I'm gonna go 3.5. The work on the whole was pretty solid, but some of the booking decisions for me were kind of curious, and some of the match placement and just some of the follow up from the night before was kind of goofy. Whether, between a women's match, some spots with Cole and Dunn. But overall, I enjoyed the Survivor Series more than I have in recent years. So I 3.5. Solid show.
All right. Smart.
Giving it a 4. Had fun. Didn't give a shit about Brock versus Bray. Already knew that coming in, so nothing that's surprising. Just a fun, enjoyable show. I dug it.
All right. Cool. All right. Then I guess we move on to Raw. And there's only a few things I want to talk about on Raw. Obviously, in my opinion, there's really only 3 things to really get into on Raw. That is Seth's speech, the Lana thing, and the end of Raw. We'll just leave it at that, and we'll get into it. I don't want to spoil anything of just yet.
And the Lana thing too. Yeah, we've got a little news on that one, but we'll save it until we get to it.
Absolutely. The way Raw started off, and again, I put this on Facebook. If you did not hate Seth Rollins, he made sure you did here. And then, you know what? The show wrapped up where it all kind of made sense. But he's giving this speech at the beginning of the show. It was like the State of Raw address, the State of WWE address, and just shitting on all the talent for losing. What did you guys think of this little fucking speech here? And everyone, by the way, Charlotte walked out on him. AOP, who was a big part of Raw. We will get into that.
Randy Orton gave the best reaction.
Yes.
Because he gave the only reaction that I would believe that both in kayfabe and as a shoot, he would have to.
Absolutely. I think he thought the camera was off him, and he gave the universal sign for fucking you're jerking yourself off, which is the old jerking off motion in the air.
Bro, I said it before. I mean, man, like if Randy could find a way to transition his social media persona on camera, he would literally be the most over guy in the company, man. You know, because young Orton didn't give a fuck. Now he gives 0 fucks because he knows he's untouchable.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm sorry, man. Like, I know a lot of people are cold on Randy Orton these days, but if we get more of no fucks given Orton on TV, hey, I will become a fan again.
Yeah,
I really will.
I really wish we could get that Randy Orton back. You know, it almost makes me want to see him. Like, man, that's the one guy I wish actually would maybe have actually jumped. And, you know, I'm obviously this is never going to happen, but it'd be cool to see him go to an AEW and be able to do some crazy shit over there. Like Jericho, you know what I mean? Just kind of, you know, but again, fantasy, never going to happen. Anyway,
in terms of actual speech, it was a good douchebag promo. Seth, I mean, that was the desired effect. Mission accomplished on that. The only thing, and they have a tendency to do this a lot, the only thing that I didn't like was the fact that, you know, he brought up, you know, I used to love Raw. You know, he had Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels and The Rock and DX. Raw used to be great. Why the fuck do you constantly have to bring up when Raw used to be good? Why do you have to bring up the people that used to make the show fun? Because you just shine a spotlight on the fact that you haven't created stars. The height of Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels and DX was a long fucking time ago at this point.
Yeah.
And it always spotlights that it makes you stop and think like, damn, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, it was a long time since those guys been on TV and were relevant. They really haven't created stars. It makes people start to think, like, God damn, this company has not created stars in a long ass time. So that part of the problem, I'm like, maybe not spotlight when the show was actually good and fun to watch week to week.
And I mean, let's be honest. I mean, they put a lot of fucking eggs in the John Cena basket for a long time. So that was the star they built for what? Over a decade, dude. And that was their only fucking guy. So yeah, and it's like they never learned to build more stars. And Seth Rollins,
he ain't it, as the kids say. He ain't it, Chief.
Meanwhile, this heel turn is a good idea. Again, where we're gonna get to that in a little while. But yeah, this was a crazy speech, and of course, the only guy that stood up to him was Kevin Owens, which we'll get to later. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But
I have so much that I could say about this.
Go ahead, say it.
But what I will say, a couple of things here. First off, it reminded me of Dixie Carter Impact days when she would like get the whole roster to stand like in the front of the ring or whatever, and she would just come out and just emasculate all of them for fucking no apparent reason. Like, I get that ultimately the answer to the question is because it's in the script, but like, think about it. Like, picture fucking Seth Rollins going from locker room to locker room to be like, hey guys, can you go ahead and walk to the ring so that I can shout at you for like 15 minutes? Okay, cool, thanks. Like, why would they do any of that shit? And he came off like he was like the only summer camp counselor that gave a shit. Like, the other summer camp counselors just wanted to smoke weed and drink beer in the woods, but like his dad was a camp counselor, so he wanted to uphold the fucking Lake Winnesaga tradition. Like, he was just such a fucking unlikable douche. He yelled at the War Raiders. They won. He yelled at people that weren't even, like, at Survivor Series. Like, I was expecting R-Truth to just tell him that he was, like, at a bar mitzvah. It's not his fault.
I ain't gonna lie. When he came at Ray, he was funny.
Ray, you were the worst.
Yeah. No, you're... What did he say? Your stupid son and a lead pipe couldn't get the job done? Something like that?
Yeah, he basically, I beat Brock Lesnar twice this year, and your stupid kid and a lead pipe couldn't get the job done once. And then, Ray, I'm sorry, man. I love Mysterio. I know he's a legend. But whenever somebody comes at him, he always has this thing where he throws up his hands like, what are you talking to me for? What did I do?
No, he, and Antok said it, he mouthed fuck you to Seth. And he walked out too, but this was
Archie was a buddy. Like, don't listen to him.
Yeah,
you're Ray.
This made a lot more sense by the end of the show, but man, was it a douchey fucking promo by Seth Rollins. And pretty much, like I said, Kevin Owens stood up to him, and right after that was this Lashley thing. Now, the main thing that came out of this Lashley thing was the shirt that Rusev had on, which was the Dim Mak shirt, that was a shirt from Bloodsport, which, don't depress me too much. I don't want to talk about it, but Dim Mak means death touch.
We know. We won't bring it up, Box. Just check the Hollywood Hangout archives. You'll understand why he's disappointed.
Just check the archives. That fucking lion, Frank Dukes. Anyway. This was Rusev went fucking nuts in this fucking segment, and I loved it. What they need to do, though, is stop all these scaffold things where things just fall completely flat and it's obvious there's no way it can hurt the guys. It doesn't look good on live television. I know you think you're shooting movies, but there's not a green screen there where you can do shit like this. I'm sorry. Please stop.
Before we talk about the actual beatdown, can we talk about the video that set it up?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, man. Rusev is great. It's to me, I'm all about the little things, man. He's coming into the building. You get the guy coming out. They got this guy chasing after him for an autograph, and the security's holding back like, you can't. Hey, please, Rusev. Please, Mr. Rusev. It's for my kid. And Rusev's standing in his accent. Come on. It's for the kid. It's for the kid. I'm sorry. This just made me laugh harder than it should have, man. Like, Rusev is a national treasure.
Yeah, let's face it. The payoff to this storyline is going to be very uneventful and awful for any character in it. But Rusev, at least, is really... He's trying, man. And this was pretty cool. I like this. I did like Rusev in this whole thing right here. And obviously, you know, the cops came out because he has the old restraining order and shit. But he beat the shit out of Lashley. And for a few moments there, you did see Lana have some compassion in her eyes a little bit. And they were trying to show that. So... You see, they're gonna wrap this up soon. Go ahead, bro.
And you would know. You think these were real cops? Because these didn't feel like the normal situation where it was like it normally would be a bunch of indie guys playing security and playing cops. These felt like real cops, just in terms of how they handled the situation.
They actually did look like real cops, and you know, it's not against policy if they do it if they're off duty. So it's possible that they could have been real cops. I don't know. They did look more like real cops than a lot of the real cops than a lot of the cops that I've ever seen on Raw.
Yeah.
I mean,
just in terms of how they handle, I mean, like I said, I'm not like a police expert, but you could just tell like they handled the situation better in like a realistic situation as opposed to like a lot of the guys. You could tell like they would normally just be like, you could tell he was acting.
Well,
and they don't know how.
Yeah.
They don't know how a cop would handle a situation.
Well, they weren't all young, jacked with fucking shaved heads and fucking great haircuts. They were, a lot of these guys were older and they looked like seasoned cops is what they looked like. So maybe they decided to use actual cops for this. Maybe that's all they had hanging around. Who knows? But I don't know. To me, they did look like real cops. So, and again, notice he didn't swing on any of them or do anything. So, definitely could have been. So,
might as well tie this in a box. Did you hear that? Did you read that report about Lana allegedly signing a new 5-year deal with the company? And
yes.
do you think that this is going to lead to Rusev sticking around or Splitsville?
Rusev will stay. He's waiting for he's waiting for that right dollar amount. That's all. He's
What
playing
about you, Smart?
He's playing hard to get. Go ahead, Smart.
Hard to get. I think he's going to end up doing the same shit that Ziggler does. He's going to sign a contract extension, and then he's going to spend the entire contract extension, like pretending or like kind of secretly acting like he's unhappy and. Yeah. Like he's going to go somewhere else, and then he's going to do the same shit again. He's going to re-sign again if they offer it. So,
yep, yeah,
he's a lifer.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. Do you think he is, Anthony?
Selfishly, I want him to because same reason I felt like Ziggler. Ziggler had a certain window where I felt like not necessarily be a top guy somewhere else, but he had more to offer than what the company was allowing him to show. I feel the same way about Rusev. And in a lot of ways, I feel like Rusev, if he went somewhere else, which is why I think they want to keep him on lockdown, he could be a bigger star, and they know this. In-ring ability, promo ability, and he just seems like one of those guys, like multifaceted, that could be a player for somewhere else, for somebody else. I just want to see him realize his full potential. So, and now that y'all kind of break it down, yeah, he does kind of seem like he's, playing, just fishing for a better deal for himself and his wife. But I'm hoping selfishly that he, splits.
Nah.
Because, just to kind of spread his wings, because the guy has a fucking lot to offer beyond what he's being showed.
Bro, I'm sorry. I'm not leaving my wife there with a Bobby Lashley storyline. I'm sorry, man. I ain't doing that shit.
Dude, imagine a merchandising merchandise possibilities right there.
Though, for real, though, imagine, basically what you're saying, and I know you're saying for your benefit as a viewer, but, imagine being Rusev. It's like, all right, I can sign with a company that I might not be happy with, and I get to be around my wife and make sure nothing bad's happening. Or I could risk losing her so that I could win the AEW title. Nah, I'm good, fam. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just like, but dude, we're missing out on the obvious merchandising possibilities. Once you go Bobby, them knees stay wobbly.
I like that one, Anthony. That was very good. I saw that. That was good. I like that. Shit. But yeah, listen, Rusev's making the best out of this storyline. But
at least he got to look good for once. So kudos to Bobby for selling for him.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of quick things we need to mention real quick before we get into the last part of this real quick. AOP made their return, and I'm liking AOP right now, man. I really am. I don't know about you guys. Real quick, let's quick thoughts on AOP. But they look good. They're doing they're just playing big guys. They're not out there doing crazy shit. So go ahead.
I think that a faction with them as the muscle and Rollins as the mouthpiece has some serious potential. Because the thing about AOP is they're believable badasses, but they need a mouthpiece. They need somebody that can do the talking for them. Because promo wise, and the video packages, they're intimidating guys, but I could see them dying a death in front of a live crowd with a microphone. So you give them a guy that's decent on promos, at least, which Rollins is, then I think you got some serious money to be made right there.
All right. Yeah, I think those guys are gonna do just fine if they can keep up this little thing they got. And they're teasing in the end that Seth Rollins might be behind their fuckery a little bit. Smart AOP.
Totally agree with Anthony. Liked him when they were with Paul Ellering. Kind of indifferent with them as individual acts. Definitely need a mouthpiece. It looks like they might be getting one. So I'm willing to warm up to him, I think.
Yeah. All right. There we go. I wanted that quickly, and that was definitely quickly. And we had a Matt Hardy return on Monday night.
Yeah.
By the way,
depressing.
Listen, Matt Hardy, he looked good. I'm not gonna lie. Matt Hardy looked good. He looked fucking thin, not thin, but thinner, healthy. Looked like the old V1 Matt Hardy, and I liked it. I thought it was awesome.
I mean, look, it was first off. Anytime I see a guy like Matt Hardy from where he came from, looking healthy, looking like he's doing good in life, kudos. Glad to hear that. Mm-hmm. But it's just depressing as fuck to see this guy who, for lack of a better term, carried TNA for a year and a half, 2 years, and to come back and he's a guy that you could get so much more out of than what you're getting. The same point that I made about Rey Mysterio a few months ago. It means nothing when somebody just goes out there and you job him out. I mean, build him up a little bit on the end. Give him some undercard wins. So that way when somebody higher up on that mid-card level that you want to get over beats him, it means something. Because whatever Buddy Murphy gained from beating this guy was totally erased when you had Aleister Black come out there and bitch Buddy Murphy out.
Well, he came and knocked on his door. He's been waiting for you.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like Aleister Black, but can we also admit that that's the whole come and knock on my door thing? Like, they've been doing this shit for like 6 months now.
Yeah, it is pretty awful. But you know what though? I got to kind of throw something in there. I don't think that really. I mean, Buddy Murphy came out of that Matt Hardy match with a bloody nose, looking fucking tough, in my opinion. And he kind of chicken shit heel when he went away from Aleister Black. I actually don't see a problem with it. I see the storyline continuing here. And really, if you think about it, that whole match did its job when it put over Buddy Murphy. So I really don't see a problem with it.
No, but I get that to a point. But if you're going to have a guy out there like Matt Hardy, whether it's Buddy Murphy, whether it's don't give me another name, Drew McIntyre or whoever, do you think that it ultimately it means nothing to have these people beat him if you don't give him some type of credibility to work with? Like what's being gained from throwing him out there, losing these matches? I get it. He's like closer to the end of his career, but like, does the person beating him really gain anything if everybody beats him? Is what I'm trying to say here.
Well, I mean, he's not going to gain anything by beating an enhancement talent or fucking some jobber coming out there either. So, you're kind of going up against two fucking evils and picking the least of the two evils, in my opinion, on that one.
Yeah, and if you have Matt Hardy like going over younger talent just so that it looks important when Buddy Murphy beats him, that kind of fucks over the younger talent.
Yeah, so there's really no good way to do this except to get a guy. I mean, was that the greatest time for Matt Hardy to come on back? Maybe not. That might not be the right guy to use for it, but who else are you going to use? Not the worst guy to use for it, but
it'd be hilarious if Jeff Hardy, after all of the grief he's probably put, not only his WWE through, but his family through. He comes back from all of this and still gets a better push than Matt Hardy.
Yeah. Who knows?
Because it's like even in times like this, Matt still can't get a break. Still can't catch a break.
Yeah. But I guess the main thing coming out of Raw was the Seth Rollins tease heel turn. They had the Kevin Owens Seth Rollins match. Kevin Owens did win via DQ. AOP came in at the end of the match and beat the shit out of Kevin Owens. And they kind of looked at Rollins and he said, "Bring it!" And they walked out instead. But
when Rollins gave him the curve stop, you can kind of write that off as him just giving Owens a receipt for the stunner from earlier.
I don't know, man. I think they're teasing a definite heel turn here. Again, he didn't go turn full heel. I'll see a lot of articles. Wow, WWE turned Seth heel. You can look at it that way. There's definitely a heel turn coming.
Now, let me ask you guys something. Because it kind of ties in, and I've been thinking about this. What do you think is the difference here? Because I'm glad you framed it like that, teased heel turn. What do you think the difference is between Rollins and Reigns in this situation? They dug their heels in on that Reigns situation hard. Like, you're going to cheer this man. You're going to accept this man. They ignored the boos. They ignored that shit for like 5 years straight. The minute they get a hint that the crowd's turned on Rollins, already that they're going to like go with it. What do you think the two differences are here? Why are they so quick to turn Rollins heel, but Reigns was like, nah, we're going to dig our heels in on this one?
If you don't mind me taking this real quick, Smart. In my opinion, Rollins has already been heel. Rollins was part of the Authority. So to turn him heel or turn him face doesn't matter anymore. He's been face in the no matter what you want to say, the Shield were faces when they did that turn, and he's been heel. He's been face. He's been both. Roman Reigns, they've pushed as a baby face the whole time and shoved it down our throats. You have to love him, like you said, Anthony. They did shove Rollins down our throats, but it was during his heel run with the Authority. So, in my opinion, those are the two differences in why they would definitely be able to go Seth Rollins back and forth. And remember, Roman Reigns is still there. They may not be using him as much as they were, but that's still there. He's still a pet project for them. I don't care what anyone says.
I mean, I just throw it out there because it's like, if you remember, they sacrificed Reigns' push to get Rollins over. So it's just kind of surprising to me that they're kind of abandoning ship so fast on his face. I mean, I get it. Rollins has kind of made an ass of himself on social media the past few months here, but this just seems very un-WWE like to actually listen to what the fan base is saying and saying like, yeah, you need to turn this guy heel because he's coming off like a dick in more ways than one.
Yeah,
so
you would.
It just seems weird that they just going with it so easily for me.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but I also think it's the fact that Seth has been he's been that flip flop character that's been the heel and been the face. So no reason. Roman Reigns has been that guy, and when he came back, he was one of the biggest baby faces in the company because of what he, and I hate to put it this way, but because of what he went through and because he came back from the cancer, he was the biggest baby face in the company, and they're going to keep him that way as long as they can. He's doing a lot of stuff. You see him on commercials and everything. So you can't turn a Roman Reigns right now. There's no possible way. It just can't be done. Seth Rollins, he's not out there doing fucking commercials and shit like that. So, hey, what the hell?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What about you, Smart?
Yeah, Smart. Sorry, I took that up a little bit. Sorry about that.
No, I mean, I totally agree with you. Plus, I think the only thing to add to that is Rollins is more versatile. Like, the problem with Rollins was never, like, his performance in ring or even on the microphone. It was that he was a dickhead on Twitter. So it's like he's proven before that he can be a face, that he can be a heel. He's more versatile. We don't have proof of Reigns being able to be a heel on his own. So, I mean, that factors in too, I think.
Yeah. There you go. But Raw, actually, I got to tell you, overall, I actually enjoyed Raw this week. I didn't think it was bad. It was there were slow parts, there were bad parts. Obviously, the parts we skipped were bad, but all in all, I think Raw was actually a decent show. The show this week, I enjoyed it.
Whoa,
So,
wow! What did you think about the one-on-one match with Charlotte and Asuka?
Mist. I love Mist, dude. I'm down for the Mist. It was a good match, actually. And I have you noticed Charlotte is actually using her giant breasts as you can. When she was doing the kicks, she was just bouncing them off her boobs like they meant nothing. Have you noticed this yet? She's using them as actual. She is using them as actual defensive weapons, but no one is mentioning it because you can't do that. But trust me, watch WWE. They're using those fucking giant titties as fucking airbags for fucking kicks. Watch her.
Now, I understand that they will never do this. I understand that they will never do this, so this is strictly hypothetical. Don't think I'm gullible enough to believe it'll happen.
I know.
What do you think the public reception would be if Charlotte did a spot with her boobs like how Joey Ryan does the dick flip? Like if somebody's hand got caught up in between them and she just fucking flipped them. Like I feel like it would get way more over or be a much more positive response from certain people than the Joey Ryan thing.
Oh, that would be much more accepted, especially because it was in WWE. Oh my God, dude, you would have so many. I would think it was ridiculous, but I would also laugh. I would laugh once. I will not lie. The first time it happened, I would laugh my ass off. But that's the only you could do it once, and I'd be like, all right, enough. But I have noticed she's using those things like she has a life jacket on, which they're about as big as a child's life jacket. So
you know what I've noticed?
What?
Whenever they do a backstage interview with Charlotte for anything, her breasts get there about a good 10 minutes before she does.
Yeah. I mean,
like literally, and it's not even like being like perverted, but literally, I don't know whether it's the cameraman getting a hard on, but it just seems like that's what the focus. You can't focus on anything else. Like literally, it's like literally, you'll see fucking short ass Charlie or whoever, and you'll just see they're talking to her with the mic, but the mic is just like literally on her breast. Like literally, everybody is focused on her breast, even inanimate objects, dude, even like microphones and shit.
Dude, even my wife, when she sees she's like, "Oh my God, look at her tits." I'm like, I know, thank you. They're huge.
Baby got rack?
No, she has no back. Baby got front.
I said baby got rack.
Oh, baby do have rack. Very good. I like that. That's all she has. That's all she has. The back of her looks like a fucking. I mean, it's basically plywood. Yeah. So that's Raw. I think we're done with Raw. Yeah. Anyone more Raw? Anyone? I don't think anything. I did enjoy Raw, but I think we got to the main points of Raw. Now, let's go to AEW, and then we can go from there, see how long it takes us to go through this. To be honest with you, I don't have a ton to go through on AEW. The opening, we've got to go through this because Soul Train Jones, a.k.a. Virgil, got to try to cut a promo tonight.
Bro, look, I cannot in good conscience shit on a show in 2019 that opens with a fucking Virgil promo.
Soul Train Jones.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to get. No, fuck it. Look, they had his Twitter handle, so
yeah, they did.
I'm sure they'll be getting a letter from WWE. You implied that it was Virgil because you plugged his Twitter handle. No, but Soul Train Jones, man, like the fact that he botched the promo made it epic, made it more epic.
Oh, dude, this whole thing, the whole fucking segment was, and again, and we talked about this before the show, and I did want to bring it up. They had a big sound issue during this whole thing right here. It was not just your TV. It was everywhere. They had a huge sound issue. And I was watching with headphones on. If you watch the match right after this, which was the Lucha Brothers match, you could hear every step they took in the ring. Every step they took, you could hear it in the ring. So, and it wasn't, it didn't sound like the usual in-ring motion where you could hear their feet. It was weird.
And you know,
it was weird. They just definitely had a bad fucking sound issue. And it was horrible because there were actually I mean, I hate to say this, but that was really indie. I mean, it sounded like a fucking indie promotion. And
it did. Yeah, there was a GCW show in Chicago a couple months ago. And like, there's a Tracy Smothers promo. You could hear it on the stream, but the fans in the building couldn't hear shit. So they were just booing the entire time. It reminded me of that because they were in Chicago too.
Yeah, and listen, if this lasted a minute, 2 minutes, even 5 minutes, I would have been fine, but this lasted the whole segment into the next segment that was talking, and that they finally fixed it. It was fixed for a minute when Justin Roberts was talking, which is why Jericho asked him the question the second time, because it got fixed. But it went right back out, and man, to me, that was pretty fucking. That was
Box. Would you say that this was this basically kind of in a nutshell shows the distinction between WWE production versus an AEW production? Because let's be honest, if a WWE show opened up like that, you know damn well within seconds that shit would be fixed. Within seconds. And I'm sorry, man. Like if we're gonna call this a war and shit like that, they're on TNT. They're not on some schmuck local channel. Yeah. In a local market. They're on TNT, national television. So that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
If you're gonna consider this a war, you got to hold them to the same standards that you would hold WWE to. I'm sorry.
And WWE has had sound issues, and they do fix them very fast, to their credit. But this, I mean, I don't know what went on here, if there was no one there or what happened, but this was very annoying. You couldn't hear. Dude, again, I had fucking headphones on, and by the way, and my headphones are good. They're expensive Brookstone headphones, if that tells you anything. Brookstone headphones, and I just couldn't hear half of it, and what you could hear, of course, from Jericho was gold. Didn't take a lot away from the fucking segment, but it took enough away to where it was annoying. But Jake Hager, or Big Hurt, as they call him's line, when he brought out the GOAT and called him Chris Jericho, actually made me not give a fuck anymore. Because I laughed so hard at that, and I laughed way too hard at that. Maybe I was too high. I don't know, but that was just one of the greatest lines I've ever heard. And the fact that they're actually selling a little bit of the bubbly is even better to me.
A little bit of the bubbly.com.
Yes. It's actually being sold.
You want to get some, box?
No, I hate champagne.
You know what I loved about that, real quick, as we're talking about Soul Train Jones? He poured him a glass, he poured Jericho a glass.
Yes.
He poured Jericho half a glass, he poured himself a fucking overflowing full glass. It was the most fucking Virgil thing ever. I loved it.
And Jericho took a sip, and Virgil downed the glass. Did you notice that?
Meat sauce, baby. Meat sauce.
Yep. Virgil downed the whole glass, and Jericho just took a sip. But listen, this was obviously they did this whole show for fun, but that was a great opening segment. And you know what? I think this might be one of the first shows AEW has opened with an actual talking segment.
And can we talk about the greatness of the 50 cent off coupons? That, I mean, dude, we got to talk about that shit.
That was great.
Apparently that's a real thing too.
Yeah, that was great. And one guy won it, and he was thanking Chris Jericho. He played along with it, which was even better. But and of course the what was it, the Baricua basket.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
A little bit of the 40. I like a little bit of the 40. I like that one. That was good. That was good.
Yeah, and it's funny because look, for all the grief that Cornette's been getting over the past week or so now, that was, the Baricua stuff and pamming it up. It was a little bit of racial overtones to that segment.
Yeah, but remember who's doing it. Remember who's doing it.
Yeah, I know. It's all about. Plus, it's all about content. I wasn't offended or anything, but I think it's kind of comical.
No, it was actually really good, and it was good seeing. I don't know. To me, I had fun watching the heels out there joking around and having fun.
Yeah,
you know,
Jericho gave like the best white guy answer ever to Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah,
they show him the L40. They show him the 40. Hey, you know what this is? No.
Mm-hmm. I know. I'm like, hell yeah.
I'm sorry.
A little bit of the 40, but
flip flops, Vicks vapor rub.
The Vicks vapor rub. That was great.
Excalibur on commentary. Clearly, they made a stop at their local bodega.
Shit. That was good shit. But let's see. Then we had we had the best friends, whatever.
You're not a fan of Chuck E. T no more?
Never was. I guess the main I want to bring up on this. Who is Butcher and Blade? Does anyone know? I don't know who these guys are, and obviously I'm an idiot for not knowing.
That was actually a little bit later on in the show, but to answer your question, it's Andy Williams and I forget the other guy's name.
Okay, great.
But they're primarily an independent tag team. They're primarily featured in Beyond Wrestling. Okay. I've seen them wrestle a couple of times. They're pretty solid. It's a good pickup, I think.
They look. I mean, they didn't look bad, and again, I don't want to go match for match anymore, so that's why I'm just kind of skipping through a little bit. You guys can talk about whatever is on your mind, of course. But this I just didn't know who these guys were, but man,
you went wrong, sir. JR was like, who?
I know JR was hilarious. Who the hell are these guys? The fuck? Allie. Look at Allie. Look at her. God damn, I know who Allie is. Look at those titties. Oh shit.
But
she came up through the ring.
Oh shit, Blade is Pepper Parks. Okay.
That's why he looks familiar. And
Allie's husband? Well,
yeah? Wow.
Son of a bitch. Dean Yates, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dean. I knew, because I couldn't place him. I'm like, I know who this guy is, but I could not think of his name to save the life of me. So thanks, Yates. Thank you.
There we go. All right. That now we're look at that. We're putting things together here. Okay, understand. I understand why Allie's with him, because I didn't get why Allie was with him, because she cut this whole baby face, I'm so glad to be here promo last week, and then now she's coming out this week in leather and sticking out her tongue with a tongue ring, and I liked it. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I mean, a chick sticking out her tongue in leather. Come on, let's be honest with you.
Yeah, but real quick, I mean, to the JR thing, I mean, I had wrote that down because I wanted to make sure I didn't forget to bring it up. And his reaction, I know it's easy to jump on JR for not, doing the homework and all that, but how many other people sitting at home do you think had that same reaction? Do you think it was the best idea to debut these guys cold like this, or do you think they should have did like a vignette, kind of like explaining the origins, where they came from, or would you have done the same thing? Because it seems like AEW is getting in the habit of debuting. They're either debuting people cold, or they're expecting everybody to know the deal, to follow them on social media, whether it's the Being the Elite, which I'm going to get to in a second, because something else that kind of like irritated me on commentary that they kind of apparently was a story on being the elite. But it didn't. Like I said, that they're relying too much on like their core fan base. But they're on TNT now. I really feel like they need to make these things more uniform and like have the storylines play out on TV. You can't expect people to know who the fuck these people are.
No, but you can also debut them, and then they come out and tell you who they are, and then they show you who they are, and then they give you a video package after that. You can definitely do things like this and then put these guys over, in my opinion. It's not hard to do at all. WWE has done it, debuted guys cold and then done this shit. It's not a hard thing. And I think AEW can do this. They've actually been good at doing it already so I don't know who these guys are, but I'll tell you what, they looked fucking good. They look fucking brutal, and I'm down to see this shit. So believe it or not, it actually made me pretty fucking interested. So I'm good. I hope I just hope they follow up with, this is why we did this. This is who we are. They should come out next week with a very heelish fucking promo and backstage promo, and we'll get a little more of them then. Smart.
So, real quick,
go ahead while I pee.
Okay. Well, since he's peeing, I'm going to stall for time.
Okay, smart.
I can still hear you, so be careful.
Anyways, no, what I was going to say is I agree that there are quite a few people that I feel like should be given a video package, given promo time or whatever before they do something debut like that. Like, I definitely felt that way about the Dark Order. I felt like they did that in reverse. I said that before. But I feel like with them, they kind of have the benefit of, I guess with Allie being their manager or associate or however you want to put it, that's kind of their tether. So it's like, okay, you're watching it, you kind of already know who Allie is if you've been watching AEW. So it's like, all right, who are these guys? Why has she done this? Why has she aligned herself with these guys? What are these guys about? What is she about now? Like, you left the fans wanting more. You left them interested, intrigued. I can't imagine, this is just a prediction on my behalf, that their gimmick is going to be elaborate to the point where they should have had video packages and stuff explaining it. I don't think their gimmick is going to be that deep to where you should like kind of build a mythology around them first. I feel like you can do a kind of, well, who are these guys?
Oh, that's fair.
Like Fox said, as long as they explain themselves and it's not just next week they're wrestling fucking Private Party and they don't mention it, like that would suck. But as long as they're like, okay, here's why we did this. You've been waiting a week to know. Here's why. I feel like you can get by with that.
Nah, smart. And I can't wait. I'll get Box's opinion when he gets back. Now, during the course of the Pac and Hangman Page match, Excalibur on commentary basically threw out, and it was basically a throwaway line on commentary that Hangman Page apparently left the Elite faction. He's going to be doing his own thing. Now, I mean, don't you think that's something? Because that's a pretty big deal in terms of like the core group of talent there. Everybody knows, if you follow AEW, Cody and the Bucks, Hangman Page, they were a pretty tight little faction. Do you think that that's something that should have played out on TV as opposed to just kind of being thrown out there like, yeah, of course everybody knows. You know, everybody watches Being the Elite. No, the fuck they don't.
Well, absolutely. I will say I'm almost certain there. I will leave it at 98% chance, just because I'm not 100% sure. But I'm pretty sure that they did mention again in like kind of a throwaway line last week that he had parted ways with them. So like they kind of just mention it, just kind of in passing, and just like kind of not giving it any real impact. Because I've definitely heard it before. I just don't remember if it was last week or what. Might have been an episode of Dark or whatever. But they've definitely mentioned it before. My problem is like I feel like they're expecting too much with certain things. Because like there's been storylines that have started, like the Joey Janela, Sean Spears thing. There's been feuds that have started or have been furthered on episodes of AEW Dark, and you wouldn't necessarily know why these guys are feuding now if you didn't watch AEW Dark. And then there's certain stuff that goes on during Being the Elite that furthers on into the show, and it might leave you confused if you haven't watched that. Like, you're expecting somebody to watch an hour-long YouTube wrestling show and like half hour, 20 minutes, 45, however long it varies per week, obviously, however long Being the Elite is. You're expecting them to watch a video series, a wrestling show on YouTube, then a show on television. Like, it doesn't necessarily leave you in the dark if you don't, but expecting every one of your fans or a good majority of your fans to follow all of that, I feel like it's unrealistic. Like, I don't want to go full Brian Alvarez with that, where it's like, why didn't they explain? I hate it. But it's like, it's hard. Like, there's a lot of wrestling to watch. There's a lot of just responsibilities in life and other shit that people want to watch and do with their. It's hard.
Yeah, I mean, people have, families, they have kids. I'm pretty sure they want to have sex every now and then. So it's not necessarily a lot of times on the course of a person's day-to-day life to fit that much wrestling in. It's just one of those things, man, where I feel, and I've said this from the beginning, I'm rooting for this company to succeed because Lord knows we need options when it comes to wrestling on a mainstream level. But from the moment they debuted on TNT, they need to act like nobody knows what the fuck AEW is. They have to hit the reset button. I feel like they're relying too much. They rely too much on social media. They rely too much on the people that are already fans, like Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, Joey. They're amazing talents. Take nothing away from these guys, but you have them on TNT in these matches and these like people know who they are, and that kind of segues into the Joe. Did you read the Joey Janela tweet?
The tweet that was taken down, or not taken down, deleted. Yeah, I actually did. I did hear about that.
So, do you think it's a work, a shoot, or do you think that? Because we all know like Joey Janela likes to kind of like play fast and loose sometimes. But if it turns out I'm getting worked, oh well. I felt like there was some legitimate gripes in that tweet. I got the sense that he was speaking from a place of real frustration.
I would like to know, and not that it necessarily matters too much, I would like to know what time that tweet was sent. Because, like, it's not out of the realm of possibility that, like, Joey just might have been drunk. Like, it is entirely possible that he was drunk and he was just on one.
Yeah.
Because he's done that on commentary several times where he said some shit that he might have regretted after a couple too many White Claws. So who knows with that? Like, I'm not entirely sure I understand, and maybe you can touch on it or further it or whatever. I'm not sure I entirely understand what his gripe is about.
Well, I'll say this. This is what happens when you start up a company being run primarily by your buddies, and you promise everybody a push. And best I could tell, you got Jericho, and Cody's booked pretty well. But after that, it's a fucking like a best guess. I mean, take your pick about who's booked pretty well after Cody.
Antox is saying that he was on a GCW show tonight, so.
Already?
I didn't know there was a GCW show tonight. I'm going to have to check into that.
Chopper City.
Oh, yeah, well.
Chopper City.
No, I will say, though, for what it's worth, he does still do commentary, like guest commentary for GCW. So I don't know I'm not trying to like shit on anything he said. I don't know to what capacity he was on the GCW show. But even still as like a couple of weeks ago, he still does commentary from them.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's work. But Anthony, I want to go back to your other point of the social media thing, and the fact that happened on the Being the Elite. First of all, I do agree that AEW does rely on social media a lot, but that is where they got their roots mostly. Is this social media thing? Is this Being the Elite thing? That's one point. Second point, how many times has WWE done stuff on YouTube or done stuff on the network and just mention it real quick? This is, unfortunately, this is 2019's way of doing shit. it's just the way it is. We're
The
not
difference
going to
is,
get.
though. I'm sorry, go ahead, Bob.
No. I get your point. They rely on social media, and yes, they are a new company. They do need to act like, yes, no one knows who we are, but this fan base knows exactly who they are. They are being the elite fans. They all chant be elite when the fucking Young Bucks come out. So they know the score. And this is their hardcore fan base. Mostly watching. It really is. This is it. So yeah, every now and then you got to cater to your fan base. And I don't think it's a bad idea to cater to this a little bit. It's, again, dude, it's 2019. This is it. I'm sure JR cringes when he says things like that, but what are you going to do, man?
I mean, I get it. You got to change with the times, but to your point about WWE, yeah, WWE, they do it. They're guilty of it too, but the difference is with WWE, they're an established brand. They have 50, 60 years behind them. So even if they throw something out there where you may not know what's going on, people still know WWE. They know enough to know WWE, that WWE is WWE. They're an established brand. The AEW brand is still relatively new. And if you look at where their ratings were week one, clearly there was an audience that was interested, but they weren't interested. But by the time that first week went by, they gave it a chance 1-2 weeks in. And then they weren't impressed with the storyline development. They weren't interested in the character presentation for a variety of reasons, I'm assuming. But they apparently AEW didn't do enough in terms of storylines, in terms of giving you a reason to care about these characters for people to stick around, because the ratings they're starting to kind of like maintain like a base, but to go from 1.4 to almost cutting that number in half, 7-8 weeks in, it's kind of like, it speaks to like they need to do a better job of tightening some things up.
Yeah, and by the way, the whole and the being the elite thing, they're not really doing it on AEW television. So for them to actually do that storyline would be weeks. They'd have to establish the being the elite. They'd have to do that.
I'm just saying, if it affects the TV product, then you have to find a way to address it. Like if you're doing things on these online shows that's affecting the main TV show, that to me is a problem.
I don't think it will.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying I don't think it will affect it. I don't think it will. I think that's what their fans want. To be honest with you, that's, again, my opinion. I think that's what their fans want. I really do.
I, at the very least, like we were talking about before with WWE, with the NXT thing, why, the Dakota Kai and all that, like they at least explain, it's like, well, if you watched the pre-show, you would have saw this happen. Like I think it's fine to like put stuff on being the elite that would lead into or tie in with Dynamite. But I feel like when it happens and as it happens, I feel like you should at the very least just be like, hey, on Being the Elite YouTube show, this happened, so this is why this is happening. Like something. Like, and they do that sometimes, but there's sometimes where if you don't watch Being the Elite or if you don't watch AEW Dark, there are certain things that go on that you're like, it doesn't make sense why these people are suddenly feuding, but had you have watched, and they don't mention that, had you have watched AEW Dark, you would have saw that this happened, so then this happened, so then that,
Yeah, and again, we're on episode 9, dude. Let's give them time to understand that, you know what, maybe you should play that clip. Play it. Just play the clip of him quitting, and then everyone will understand. That's all you have to do. It's that simple. A quick clip, and I think they'll get that's what you have to do to really get everyone up to speed on everything. And again, that's my opinion. So, now Anthony, you said you had some more notes that you wanted to get into on this AEW show. Again, I don't think there was a ton to get into on this show.
I actually thought you might have missed that part. You actually probably might have answered it already. While you were away, me and Smart got into a little bit of discussion about a Hangman Page apparently separating from the Elite faction, Cody and the Bucks. And they kind of just threw it out there. Excalibur kind of threw it out there casually tonight on commentary during the Pac and Hangman Page match. And I'm like, the fuck did this happen?
Didn't we just talk about that? Isn't that what we just talked about?
Yeah. Basically, they just threw it out there. And like, even to their fan base, that's a pretty big plot point to not have addressed on the show. I don't have a problem with being the Elite as a self-contained show. But if things happen, like I just said, if things happen on that show that's going to affect the main show that everybody watches around the world, I feel like you have to find a way to just tie it in, so it makes sense from week to week.
Like I said, if they just start, I think they'll start eventually playing those clips, and then everyone will be up to speed on that. So I don't really think that's going to be a problem, and I don't think it affects the actual television show, to be honest with you. I really don't. I don't think it'll affect the television show. Like I said, WWE does the same type of shit here, there, so I don't see an issue with it. I really don't. If they continue to do it without at least playing the clip of him doing it, I think that might eventually become an issue, but at this point, episode 9, I think we're a little early in saying it's an issue, to be honest.
Yeah.
Smart, go ahead. You or yeah is your answer.
No, I mean I am just kind of a grunt to kind of acknowledge that I can see things from your perspective. I do feel like it's a lot to ask to watch a YouTube series, a YouTube wrestling show, than the regular wrestling show. But I mean, I guess it hasn't significantly affected it, but I feel like, like you were saying, just play the clip. It's not that hard.
Yeah, and I think they'll figure that out eventually. I don't know. Maybe they don't have that capability yet or something, or maybe they don't have the rights to play those clips yet. I don't know. That there might be an issue there. Remember, YouTube is weird. Maybe they don't have the rights to play those clips yet. So I don't know. That would be something. Hopefully they start doing that. But what else do you guys want to talk about on AEW besides the MJF and DDP thing?
I'm trying to think. Women's match happened, I guess.
You know what? Yeah. I like that. What is that? Chris Statler girl. She's
you like anybody that's muscle, bro. You know you do.
She's got some nice thighs. But Chris Statlander, that's her name. Statlander, that's her name. But I like her, man. She's good. I haven't seen her because I haven't watched the AEW Dark shows. But this was actually, I gotta say, we've been shitting on AEW's women's division. This was one of the better matches they've had for their women's division. I would say out of all 9 episodes, this might have been the best match they've had on there, to be honest with you. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but
I would agree. That's actually fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I will also use this opportunity to run a proverbial victory lap. Chris Statlander, or not Chris Statlander, what was the other lady? I'm not doing a good job of explaining this.
Bea Priestley?
The one with the dyed hair. The one with the dyed, yeah. Her partner, who I believe is, I think her name's Sakurai or whatever it was, the Freddie Mercury lady.
Yeah. Emi Sakura, yeah.
She is a heel. I thought she was a heel. I said I don't understand how being a Freddie Mercury makes her a heel. People said that she wasn't a heel. She, in fact, is a heel, as we saw from tonight. So yeah. I just wanted to take a victory lap, pat myself on the back there.
Yep. I don't get how wearing a mustache to the ring is a heel, but we are. That's where we are. That's where we are.
She had a cool spot, too, because a chair was set up. And she saw that the chair got set up and it was going to be used against her partner. So she just sat down in the chair. Mm-hmm. And it just killed the move. I thought that was pretty cool.
And then the other girl kicked her in the fucking head. But
yeah, that was kind of clunky. It was like They were going for she was going for the too cool for school type spot, but she literally just stopped in the middle of the sequence and sat down. There was no flow to it, so that's why it came across as awkward, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a little awkward. And again, look, I'm not saying this was a fucking incredible 5-star match, but for AEW, as much as we've been complaining about the women, I think this might have been one of the best. Out of 9 episodes, I think this was probably the best women's match that I've seen on Dynamite so far.
While we're talking about the women real quick, that's why I brought this match up. So they did the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Nyla Rose, what do you think about the fact that Nyla Rose was ranked number 4 and she's barely wrestled? She's barely been. I mean, I haven't watched every episode of Dark, so maybe Smart can smarten us up on some of that. But how is she ranked number 4 if she's not wrestling that often?
She was on Dark. She wrestled. God, names are failing me today. The Librarian. She wrestled her, and she got the win over her. So I think she's at 2 and 3 now. I think it was that they said about her.
Yeah. That was Leva Bates. Yeah.
Leva Bates. Yes.
Blue Pants. Yeah. That's it. She's wrestling on those shows, and they count all those shows. So, as much as I'm not crazy about this whole win-loss thing, I am curious to see how they do pull it off. When eventually do they hit a reset button? Are they going to have little seasons on those things or anything? I am curious to see how they're going to do this. And as much as I'm not crazy about it, it does have my curiosity. I'm not going to lie. So
I think if they play it off right, it has a potential to make matches that might have been just kind of throwaways seem important. Because if you have they have their number 1. They said their number 1, I believe, was Britt Baker. But if you have number 2 versus number 4, number 4 beats number 2, then do they go up to number 3 or number 2? You could play that whole thing where it has a kind of the potential to make matches, like I said, that were otherwise maybe throwaways seem more important, seem like there's actual stakes on the line.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential with this if they do it right. And there's also a lot of ways to make it really ridiculous and stupid. So, Again, my curiosity is a little sparked by how they're going to work it. Is it going to be ridiculous or is it going to be actually good? So let's find out. But I will tell you though, the DDP and MJF were in the ring a little bit after MJF won the Diamond match.
The Diamond Dozen money.
Yeah. Oh, Smart, you're echoing bad, dude. Make mute for a
Sorry,
second.
hold on.
Dude, the spot where he literally put his gum in DDP's hand. I'm sorry, man. This dude plays like an awesome douche because I don't give a fuck if it's a work or not, man. We gotta be fighting, man. I don't do saliva. I don't care who you are, man. I don't do another person's saliva on me. So yeah, we would have been fighting for real. I'm not saying I would have whipped him. I'm not gonna go full on box. Exactly. Whoop the fuck out of MJF. But we be fighting.
Oh, I don't do
saliva.
I don't think I could beat MJF. Listen, let me tell you something. It wasn't even the fact that he put the gum in his hand. It was the fact that he just kept squishing the gum in his hand. That made it better.
That was great. I put that right up there with Sammy Callahan and the spit thing, man. I mean, it was an awesome heel move, but it was just gross. The more he just squished it in the man's hand, the more I'm like, ugh, just gross.
Yeah. But DDP, look, for an over 60-year-old man, great shape. Obviously, the yoga helps, but still great on the mic. The crowd still fucking loves him, and it was a cool thing seeing him out there giving that little award and getting to be in a few angles here. But I don't know, man. I really, I don't know. I like DDP, and it's cool seeing him out here every now and then. Come on out and do what he's doing, and helping Cody is what he's doing, and He said that's what he wanted to do as much as he could help Cody. He really loved his father, and he loves Cody. So it's good to see DDP doing as much as he can to help Cody out, and kind of keep his name out there also. I mean, like I said, the Titantron says DDPY, the yoga thing. So what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, and it's the definition of paying it forward, because if you listen to DDP, like, he speaks very highly of Dusty, credits Dusty with a lot of his success. Said in a lot of ways Dusty gave him a chance and believed in him when not a lot of people did. So a lot of this, I could believe. Would you believe that he's probably doing all this just because for Cody, not charging him a dime when he makes these appearances, or do you think he's getting something?
I wouldn't think he's getting paid for these, to be honest with you. I don't think he cares.
I mean, not that he needs the money. I mean, it's just like that'd be cool. That's like cool little paying it forward type thing. Like, your dad really was instrumental in my career, so anything I can do to help your company get off the ground, I'll do. I'm not gonna be wrestling for you, not taking bumps at this point in my life, but anything else, promo, little angle here and there, sure, no doubt, no problem.
I think he's probably coming out doing this for nothing, just helping out Cody, in my opinion. I could be completely wrong. I don't think DDP's about the money. I think he's just about being a good person. I mean, listen to him talk. The guy's a good person, and I don't think he's about the money, so I don't think he's doing anything for this. He may have a contract that we don't know. That he may have a contract, which is great, and if he does, more power to him. So he probably does, being that he's an on-air talent. So he probably does have a little contract, getting a little bit of money for this, and good for him if he is. Help, the guy's been out there busting his ass doing this DDP thing, DDP yoga, DDPY, or whatever you want to call it. So whatever he's got coming in, I say good for him. He's helping Cody out, and he's a good guy for doing it.
So let me ask you guys this. In terms of, do you feel like Omega is starting to lose some of the luster? Because I noticed, because this was in Chicago, and you would think that he would have got like a fucking monster reaction, at least with this crowd coming out. But when he came out for his match with Pac, he came out, he had the star, he had the pyro and all that, so he came across as a star coming to the ring. But the reaction was a little less than what I expected.
Yeah, maybe, you know what? Maybe a little, but I'll tell you what, this match was fucking incredible between these two.
Oh, yeah, the match was incredible. It was amazing. It was just, so I feel like he won the crowd over as the match got going. But initially, I'm like, this didn't feel like the reaction you would expect for Kenny Omega in Chicago with a pretty pro AEW crowd.
Yeah, it was a little bit, Antox is right. This is the fourth show that Chicago's seen. Chicago's a little tired right now, I assume, of wrestling. But he's got a great fucking fifth. Jesus, you're right, Antox, the fifth. So yeah, they're a little wrestled out. But
are you trying to say that the same fans that went to WWE were probably at AEW too?
Dude, I flat out saw a fucking overexcited Brock Lesnar fan there.
Yeah, fuck that. That's a douchebag. Fuck that. I saw him. Fuck him.
I saw that, dude.
Green shirt guy was there.
Yep. Lime green shirt guy was there. So yeah, I would say a lot of people were just going wrestling event. So yeah, they were probably a little fucking beat, man, by this time. And I mean, look, even the Jericho match, I think the crowd was starting to get a little fucking tired by the main event. And I didn't expect that. They popped pretty good for a few of the Scorpio Sky spots, but yeah, the crowd was what it was, and they were hot in the beginning of the show, but yeah, they did die a little bit for the end of the show. But I want to ask you guys something real quick. Dustin Rhodes coming out in the fucking cast. I gotta say, again, little things. Seeing a guy come out and fucking wrestle in a cast brings me back to the old days.
Bob Orton.
Yeah. I kind of like this shit, man. I mean, again, this is nothing. You're not going to see this in WWE. They're not going to let a guy out there with a fucking cast. It looks bad. So, I don't know. Again, little things like that mean a lot to me, and I know they do to you, Anthony. So, I really enjoyed seeing Dustin come out there in a cast and still fucking doing fucking power slams and shit.
Yeah, and I mean, and Dustin was always good, but what do you guys think his secret is? Because he's one of those guys that literally seemed to get better the older he got. Like, I feel like Dustin now, I mean, and it's weird to say this, Dustin right now in his early 50s wrestles better than he did in his early 20s.
DDPY, bro.
Yeah, sobriety.
And, well, yeah, oh, God, sobriety. Yeah, that's probably a bitch.
Well, it's not for everybody.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Yeah, I mean, and man, let's be honest. I mean, he had drug problems for a long time, but they really didn't affect him until that god awful TNA run when he was Black Rain. Because I'm sure he was doing his shit when he was Goldust in the '90s and early 2000s, but that Black Rain run is when the fucking drugs really hit.
Well, wasn't
that was god awful.
Well, wasn't Terry was leaving him at that time, and wasn't he in a real bad place at that time?
But he was still wrestling well. But the TNA shit was god awful, bro.
Yeah,
that was rock bottom. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, Smart. I'm sorry.
Actually, no. Like you mentioned it. I was gonna say, like, he's just had a very lot to deal with. Like, he had his own kind of issues, I think. I think they patched it up, but I think he had his issues with Dusty for a while. He, his wife left him. I think, I don't know if they had a custody battle or not, but, like, he had issues with her, probably some issues with his daughter. Like, there's just a lot to overcome. So I feel like a lot of it was just I think he managed to kind of set everything in his personal life as close to correct as he possibly could, and then recentered himself. Yeah,
and it's good to still see him out there, and he looks great, and he's like Anthony said, he's moving like he's fucking a 20-year-old still. So really good to see him out there, and like, I don't know, man, I the first thing I noticed was he's out there in a cast doing fucking power slams and shit, and it took me back. I don't know why it did, but there's just little things that take people to different places, and that one just took me back a little bit. So I enjoyed the shit out of that. But I don't know, guys. Anything else on AEW that I missed?
I have two short things.
Yeah, bring them up.
First thing I wanted to mention, not really sure it's much of a topic for conversation, but Pentagon, he had a Venom-inspired mask. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, it looked like it was the Venom face paint or whatever, but he had it in the mask form. That was pretty cool. They continued to flesh out the Dark Order thing. They did another vignette there.
Yes. Again, I like that fucking vignette, and they're again. That's one we always said. Oh, no one knows who these guys are. Blah blah blah. They're really pushing this shit out of vignettes and letting us know who these guys are, and that they're recruiting, and that they're doing this and doing that, and I like it. I'm liking these videos. Look, you don't have to like the Dark Order, but these videos are very well done, in my opinion.
What I liked about it the most is that they mentioned it in the video that we could be anybody. So that kind of sets up potentially maybe new members down the line of, like, you never know who could be a part of it. So I'd like to see him, like, maybe recruit some new members, have like a full on kind of cult thing going on, because it seems like that's what they're working towards. I'm digging it. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah, and they politicians and this and that. So literally, it could be anybody you see. So and Antox is saying they even have an actual website. Is that a real website? Let's fucking let's check this out real quick. Is that a real website? Join Dark Order, joindarkorder.com. Let's see. search, copy, new tab, paste. Got to copy and paste.
Makes your life so much easier if you do that.
That's it. I'm a copy and paste guy. I'm not much for typing. Been typing for years.
Surprisingly educational.
That is a 100% real website. If you go to joindarkorder.com, it is an actual website. There's not a lot on it. Not a lot at all. Let's click join us on this and see what happens. It goes to I'm wondering if it's taking a minute. Oh, it goes to a video. Let's do it. What do you say? Oh, nope. You got to do your name, email, and all that stuff. You have to actually join the Dark Order. You can join the Dark Order, everybody.
Honestly, honest to God, like, I popped pretty hard for that. That's fucking cool. Like, it gets a little silly, but I like how they're just straight up fully committing to it. I think that's great. A nice touch.
It really is. It's fucking great. They even fucking bought a fucking website for it. That's absolutely fucking. That is sticking to the gimmick. And again, we bitched. Oh, you don't know who these guys are. They're kind of suck. They're this and that. And look, now we're getting to know these guys. If they can stick to the same formula but speed it up a little bit with that. Butcher and Blade and Bunny, which I like the Bunny. But, and by the way, Antox brought up the monocle on the Butcher. I do like the monocle. That is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
But, what else did you have on AEW? Mark.
No, I think that about covers it. Like I said, the Pentagon mask was cool. I just wanted to point that out. Dark Order thing. I think we pretty much covered every possible segment.
I think so. Was there any news you guys absolutely wanted to get into tonight, or can we save it all till Friday? What do you think?
We can say it's no real big news.
I mean,
by the by.
Oh, go ahead.
We really didn't touch on the main event at all. Kind of briefly mentioned it, but Jericho won.
Yeah.
And they're setting up something down the line potentially. Because after his post-match little celebration, out came Moxley.
Yes. You're right. We can do that real quick. And then, we're over 3 hours here. Or
Justice for Mitch, finally.
Did someone have a plant in the crowd?
No, but look, you can't buy this level of continuity, bro.
It really is.
It took Moxley 3 years?
Yeah, about
almost
that.
4 years, but he's finally coming for Jericho's ass.
He's coming for it. But the main event was good. Listen, the crowd was behind Scorpio Sky like 1,000%. I got to be honest with you, but you knew Jericho was going to win either way. But the crowd was definitely behind Scorpio Sky, which is a good thing. I did like it, but I did like Moxley coming down at the end. I think that's pretty cool. And I think everyone knew that was eventually going to happen. That was kind of predictable. But that's one match I'll definitely be. And again, real quick to throw one quick news thing in there is AEW is saying they're only going to do 4 pay-per-views a year.
Yeah,
oh, no, perfect. Perfect.
Fan, I love it because it's like less wrestling. But
yes.
In 2019, the economics of it, I don't know. Let's be honest. WWE, they kind of like set the standard in terms of where you can make money from. You make money from TV rights. And it's not like AEW has the best TV deal right now, as far as we know.
Well, right. Which is exactly why the best thing to do is probably hold back on your pay-per-views and then do 4 this year. You want to try doing 5 next year, maybe 6 next year? Fine. See how your revenue works. If it doesn't work, you go back to 4. I totally think they're doing the right thing here by not. Again, dude, don't go that fucking TNA once a month all in shit. Don't do that. Realize where you're at. Realize you're still a new company. Don't don't try to be WWE. I'm down with this 4-month thing right now. Oh, for a year thing right now. I'm totally with it. Go ahead, Smart. I'm done.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Especially if they're going to be charging the prices that they're charging for pay-per-views, which I guess they kind of have to.
Yeah, definite good point there. So, really, it's not the worst thing they can do. And if they stick with it, that's fine too. I mean, we'll just have to see. They're putting on great fucking pay-per-views, dude. So let's see what happens. But that's one more thing. But I don't know. On that note, what do you guys think? Wrap it up?
Yeah, right. Oh, guys, real quick.
Sure.
We were talking about the tape, because this is small, quick one. On the with the pay-per-views, what do you guys think about them, Cody specifically, buying up all these old WCW trademarks? Do you think they'd be better off creating their own concepts versus trying to resurrect old WCW names and basically kind of piggybacking off of a dead brand that's been gone for almost 20 years at this point?
All right. Real quick. Yes, I do, but I also see why Cody's doing this. A lot of those pay-per-views were created by his father, and he wants them. I don't see a problem with that at all, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I do think maybe they'd be better off doing that, but I also see why Cody would want those, and it's not a bad thing. Again, nostalgia sells, and those names are pretty fucking ingrained in a lot of hardcore wrestling fans' brains. So I don't see an issue with it. Again, if it was some random company out there doing this, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of bullshit. But his dad came up with a lot of those names and a lot of those concepts, and I don't see a reason why Cody shouldn't go after him for his father. Smart, what do you think?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We're one step closer to AEW Road Wild. I can't wait to the day where we can actually review AEW New Blood Rising. It'll be good times.
Well, at least we're not going to see Hog Wild, because that was a Bischoff idea. Be happy about that, folks.
It'd just be weird seeing AEW bash the beat. I mean, I know there'll be TV specials, but I don't know. It's hot and cold. I mean, like, it's just a TV special, and I get the sentimentality of it.
I like it, dude. I really do. I see no issues with this at all. I really don't. I seriously, this is where you're gonna fucking make an issue of something that his dad created, his father created. Come on, Smart. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just real quick, the fact that it is, I feel like they're kind of meeting both of you halfway, because the fact that it is just seemingly so far a TV special, like they're not relying on it to sell pay-per-views, but it's like you said they're only doing 4 pay-per-views a year, so you can throw those in there to make it still feel like a big show without doing a pay-per-view. So it's like, all right, Bash at the Beach, January, so on and so forth throughout the year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Anthony?
No, I mean, I see your point. It's to me, it's not a big deal. If they start using them to sell pay-per-views, then we might have to revisit it, because then it's like,
right,
come up with your own concepts. Which I only brought it up because I guess Bischoff, that was his main bone of contention. Like, just be different, Dan. Don't try to be like WWE. Don't try to be the next WCW. Be the first AEW, which I get that vibe. So if they stick to TV with these, like, the Super Brawl or the Slamboree, the Bash at the Beach, fine.
Yeah.
But if I start to see if we see a pay-per-view, AEW Bash at the Beach this next summer, then I'm like, yeah, we might have to revisit this conversation. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? But,
yeah. Yeah. And listen, they're definitely doing some things that are questionable, but there's reasons that they're doing some things that they're doing. This is one thing I just don't think that's wrong. So, on that note, I guess we can wrap this motherfucker up, and we will talk about all the, there's not that much news going on. So whatever is out there, we will talk about on Friday. And real quick, let's get these out of the way. Shout out to Wrestling OD, the Wrestling Overdose. That's Shaheen over there. Check him out on Apple, Google, Stitcher, everywhere you find good podcasts. Nuclear Heat Graphics. You want to check him out at nuclearheatshop.com. All Shaheen's art over there. If you don't see it on there, if you want commissions, this is the man to go to. Just go ahead and check him out right there. I'm sure, I believe he's got a place right there. You can contact him and check out Wrestling's High Marks. Cheese Man, Mojo, and G-Wiz over there. Check those guys out. Check out Bobby Anthem and Bobby Blades doing the Inhuman Experience. And if you sign up for that feed, you will also get Bobby Anthem doing his search for his lost soul. And you can also check out Philly Sports Passion. If you check that feed out, you will get the Unscripted Wrestling Show. That's with Eric, Doug, and Doug's brother Daniel. And of course, once again, shout out to Stephen Milan, who shares all our shows. Letterboxd, boxd.com/Stephen Milan, the madman of movie reviews. And check out me and Anthony. We will be on this Saturday, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Hollywood motherfucking hangout. We'll be doing something. Might even do a Scene Stealers 2, since it's a holiday weekend and we don't really have time to do anything. And that's it right there. So check us out right here, mitchell.com/dirtsheetdudes for that show. And that's it, gentlemen. I appreciate it. And I hope you both have a very great Thanksgiving.
Yes. YouTube box, Mark, chat, spend time with family, watch some wrestling, eat a lot. Yeah, have fun. Just enjoy the holiday.
Definitely. And anyone out there traveling, be safe on this holiday weekend. It's crazy out there. You know how it is for the holidays. And have a very happy Thanksgiving. Eat some turkey. And we will see you on Friday. Take it easy. See ya.
Peace.
Time to take your drunken ass home. It's all right.